Hey, what's going on? I'm Quis here at Sports Vibes TV, and today we finally got some Knicks basketball to talk about. So I got my guy Stephen Fox here. Foxy, how's everything with you?
Everything all good. Salute to you. Salute to the chat. Salute to the SV Nation. Hope all is well. Happy Sunday. Can't wait to talk about some Knicks, because the last thing I want to talk about is New York football. I have to take a blood pressure medicine. So let's talk our Knicks. Puts a smile on my face.
Hey, the Knicks are officially the best team in New York at this moment, and they're only one that's playing some meaningful, basketball, football for the city at this point. Because I think the Jets, Giants, their season's over. Mets, Yankees, they already wrapped it up, and now we're ready to have a quality product out there on the court to cheer on. And Foxy, it's crazy because you're looking at these last two games against the Pacers and against the Wizards. And one of the big things we talked about last weekend was the fact that the Knicks have to get up more threes. We said last season they only averaged about 33s per game, and in the first game against the Pacers they put up 37 threes, and then the other day against the Wizards they put up an insane amount of threes. What was it?
50.
You have the total in front of you. 52.
Yeah.
52 was ridiculous, and they were dropping them efficiently.
Yeah. It was crazy, that, and it was almost a religious experience watching the first two games, and especially Kemba, that he looked effortless, just gliding, and almost like Moses, separating the Red Sea. Kemba, the ball movement and the spacing, it was a miracle. What he brought. So everything about his knee. The revelation versus a Peyton, it was unbelievable, what he did to that team. And the same thing we'll talk about D Rose. So I know it's only an exhibition and we're not going to, overreact. But like you said, if this is the team, we're going to have it's going to be a good year for us to watch our boys this year.
And yeah, I know people say it's only preseason, but I think the brand of basketball we're seeing, at least offensively, is a lot different than what we were seeing last season, Foxy. You mentioned the ball movement. You're seeing how this team now, when you have four shooters out there, how they're able to space out the court. And you're seeing guys like Fournier, like you mentioned, Kemba, RJ, be able to, even Quickley with the second unit, Derrick Rose, you mentioned all of them. They're able to get into the paint, and we have willing passes. They're not always going in there looking for their shot. And you're seeing the ball get whipped around the court, and we're getting good looks. They put up 52 threes, but it's not like they were out there chucking terrible shots. They put up 52 threes, and they were shooting them at a high clip. What was it, around 46%? Because those were good looks, and those are high-quality shots. And the Knicks need to continue to look for those three-pointers if we're going to, be able to hang with some of the teams out there that have a lot more firepower.
Yeah, the mix is, it was crazy. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that we averaged 87 shots per game a year ago, and we put up all of we were averaging around 91 and a half, which is about what led the league. So we talked about the impact of Kemba, the impact of Fournier, the impact of just the team about passing the ball and changing the pace. Changing the pace means more shots put up. And it was crazy that they put up 84 in the last game, but the mix of 3-pointers to 2-pointers, it's a different team. It's what they're going to have to do. We talked about them being zone busters and everything. It's a totally different team with this mix.
Yeah, you talk about the pace against the Wizards. That there was one play where I guess Evan Fournier must have thought he was on the 7 seconds or less Suns. He took the ball down, up, put up a nice three, and he was able to drop it. I can't remember exactly what quarter. And I looked at the shot clock, and I'm saying, hey, we're getting good quality looks as soon as we bring the ball up, and we're getting shots from players that I trust taking those shots. Like, Fournier is a guy battle tested with France. He was the clutch shooter for the Magic when he spent time with Orlando. So to see those guys be able to get good looks, see them continue to play unselfish, it just makes me extremely excited for what we're going to see once these games actually count towards the record. But to start the show, Foxy, I want to talk about some of these young guys on the court, because I think last weekend I talked about RJ and how he could potentially get some votes, for defensive for All NBA defense. And with the way he was playing out there against Bradley Beal, you know, I might look like somebody that can see into the future because he locked Beal up yesterday.
He did.
Well, yeah, yesterday.
He did.
Yeah.
He not only locked him up. There was some possessions where the help defense, he did everything he could, and then at the last second, whether it was a Sims or an Obi or something like that, but yeah, he played tough, man. He played really tough. Uses physicality. That's what you want, and he was. Hey, what we talked about last week, being a great defensive player means holding a guy like a Beal. He obviously, I think he only scored 14 points yesterday, but being a great defensive player is stopping somebody from scoring 30 and scoring 20. They're just so good. Him going around screens, Beal and everything, you can't hold him scoreless, obviously, but he did a fantastic job. But a couple of things, like you said, Fournier, he made a play yesterday that, watching Bullock last year, and we're going to have to use it as a comparison, but he fake left. He went into the lane, went to his right, drove into the lane. They converge. He looked to the corner because you could see Bertrand's thinking that Obi's taking a corner three. He lost his man. He looked away and put him for the dunk, an alley-oop dunk, and like saying, he only had 2 assists yesterday, but folks, if Fournier passes the ball like that, and besides us saying the 3-level scorer, like you said, him came down, a pull up 3. Whoa, yes, it counts. And it's like, we haven't seen that. But him distributing the ball like that, and you said like the young guys, there was one play where Quick came under the basket, threw it out to Burks, who threw it to Rose, and threw it back to Burks, who drained the 3. The ball movement was like, it was unbelievable. It was like, wow, we got a lot to look forward to, fans.
Yeah, and I'll say it again. What makes this team so, I want to say, what makes it so dangerous is the fact that when the ball gets to someone, they are versatile enough to attack the defense in multiple ways. They can either shoot the 3, which we saw that we're highly capable of doing. They can put the ball on the floor, like you said in that play with Fournier, something he was able to do with Obi. And they can also, finish around the rim. We're hoping this season, because of course last season that was an issue, finishing around the rim. And we're talking about RJ and him potentially being a two-way star. I mean, like you said, you can't hold Bradley Beal to 0 points. You can't make him completely ineffective. But what RJ did out there is he completely canceled out Bradley Beal. And at that point now, it's going to be the rest of our depth versus the Wizards' depth. And we just have a team where we are, at every position, we have a starter and a backup that I think everybody in this fan base can be confident with. And we saw that out there. Even when the second unit came in, the second unit was phenomenal. You had Quick out there doing his thing. They were saying he's not necessarily a point guard, but if he's able to penetrate, get into the paint, keep his head up, and look for his open teammates, then I feel like him, being a secondary playmaker, I think is still a possibility for him. So what do you think about IQ? What were your thoughts on his play?
He played much better. Well, the first thing is that we didn't have Randall. So it was, you don't have the best player on the team, and we were still dominant. And it was like you said, it was nice for Obi, and we'll touch on it. Kevin Knox, ladies and gentlemen, there was a sighting of Kevin Knox, but the impact of having a point guard that gives this poor kid has had 3 head coaches and no point guard. How many times we saw him? Oh, he hit a shot and then doesn't get passed in in the last couple of years. So to have D Rose or a Quick getting him ball on that second team in his spot It was so nice. I wish well for him. He's been in the doghouse, but you can't teach that size. He has a beautiful stroke. He's gotten better on D, and it just gives us a whole lot more leverage as a team. So I'm really, really happy with that. That we were able to do that without Julius, and we saw all of those other components. And then we'll get it to later. But then to see Grimes come in and bang out 2 threes like that,
Yeah.
you know,
Beautiful.
uh,
That second one, it barely even hit the net.
I know, and it was like, wow. But meaning for him not to feel the pressure, just come in cold and nail 2 like that.
Yep.
That gives you a whole lot of leverage that these kids are playing at a level, and Miles didn't have a lot of time to show his game. But wow, this is a deep team.
Yeah, and another thing with Quick, if you guys haven't already, you should check out some of the highlights on this channel because a lot of the moves you're seeing these guys do out there are moves that they were practicing in the gym. And we said it last week. This preseason period is for those guys to work on the things that they've been practicing behind the scenes. Can it be applied in game? And if so, now you can bring that weapon with you into the regular season. And Quick did that. That step back, between the leg step back, where he tried to sell the foul. That's something we've seen him do on this channel in the workout film. So it's nice to see it pay off both for Emmanuel Quickley and us as fans, because we like to follow them and make sure that they're in the gym, putting in the work. And I think with what Quickley is showing out there, also another thing with Quick, he's showing a little bit more defense as well. I think he might be watching the channel because we've been saying he's got to step up his defense with McBride, waiting in the mist.
Yeah, but I think one of the key things that we saw off season, and he talked about after the game yesterday, is strength. He's gotten a lot stronger, and that's going to help him so much on the defensive side. He shot much better yesterday. I was worried he didn't shoot well in summer league, and he didn't shoot well from 3 in the first game. But he shot much better yesterday. And the one thing that that I wanted to mention that you didn't mention that to me that's really jumps off the screen is his handles. I think his handles have gotten a lot tighter, a lot better, and that's going to help him with his separation. I think it's going to help him with his confidence. So Quickly. Whether shooting the ball, and he squared up a little differently, I noticed. So the ball went in, and defense all around. It's a win-win for this team.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Quick can do. If he can turn into a prototypical point guard where he can set players up and get the team into their offensive sets, then that'll be nice. But to see him as someone that's focused more so on getting into paint and doing whatever he needs to do at that point, whatever the defense gives him, I think I'll be fine with that as well. Now,
Yeah,
Foxy,
I was just going to mention it. I mentioned it last week or so that Toronto. So with Van Vliet and Kyle, there wasn't really a prototypical point guard because both of them had those type of skills, and I love my Walt Frazier. And during the telecast yesterday, he mentioned that he doesn't know whether Quickley will be, like you said, that traditional point guard. But the skills that he has with a shooting guard that has point guard skills, everybody's a combo today. It's a different game. So his ability, we can't label him as a traditional guard. We could label him perfectly as a combo because he's, the one thing, whether him or Obi, that's really noticeable also is the game has slowed down. And I think it's just going to slow down more that, the nervousness and with Thibs and playing in front of Madison Square, playing in the NBA and everything. It was so frenetic. The game seems a lot slower. It's only a couple of preseason games, but I think it's going to carry over. There's a sense of confidence. There's this, we've talked about the camaraderie part, but confidence, mental part of the game is so huge. So he's a lot more comfortable. And go Quick, man, go Quick. And like I said, I don't know if he'll ever be quote unquote the traditional point guard, but if he, can shoot the way he can shoot and play with it himself and, where he sees the play with it slowing down, I have no problem with him having 4 or 5 assists and us calling him a combo guard. Or 7 assists like he had.
In the first game, 7? Yeah, it was
7.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot of chemistry between the guys. Yes, there are some things to work on. I think in the beginning of the last game against the Wizards, you kind of saw like as the first play, Fournier kind of comes up to Kemba and he's like, "Hey, Kemba, you're supposed to give me the ball." And Kemba's like, "You sure?" I'm like, he's like, "Yeah, give me the ball, give me the ball." And then you finally see Kemba clear out. So there are gonna be some things where you'll see them bump into each other where they're
It's
not in the
normal.
right spot. But I think as long as we get that ironed out in preseason, we should be good to go.
Preseason, or it'll probably take a month into the season. It's new guys learning their spots and everything. But like we said, Kemba, he did a few things that maybe the layman or novice basketball, I said, effortlessly, but he moved into places to create spacing. And there were times where we watch Peyton, you're like, what are you doing? You're dribbling and you're killing the spacing. So he was doing things that added so much to the team that a lot of people may not have picked up those nuances of how good he is and how different this team will be. And whether him hitting that three or hitting a mid-range, he gets cooking. And then if Walker cooks, then the defense, then the spacing and passing and everything, it's going to take off like crazy because who do you guard? They're going to do that, and then Fournier's scored. Then Randall's going to score. Then RJ's going to score. It's like, yo, this is a dream come true. But you did touch on something earlier. Yeah, I was just going to say you touched on something earlier. One of the areas that reared its ugly head in the first couple of preseason games, though, is us finishing in the paint. Against the Pacers, we missed 10 shots in the paint. RJ was a culprit. He missed RJ in the first game. He missed 3, and he missed another few couple. Rose had a much better game yesterday than he did against the Pacers. But, we can't miss 10 I'll call layup level or within 3 feet shots, whether it's him taking an angle or differently, he really needs to do that because it takes away from the kid. Like you said, his defense at a level, did the RJ's 3-point stroke look gorgeous? I mean, his form, I saw Drew Hanlon said, he's holding that form and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just
hold the follow through.
Thanks. That's what I was looking for. Hold that follow through. But it's that finishing, and that'll come. It's just a couple of preseason games, but we just need that for our team to finish those gimmies. If you're 3 feet or in, come on, you got to hit those at a higher rate.
I wonder if Bill stops working out with RJ in the offseason. Like, hey, you're picking up all my moves, and now you're shutting me down on national TV. On MSG Network. You can't keep doing that. Hey, we're going to have to work on things.
You can't make me laugh like that. I'm going to have to take a drink now. But word, he's going to like, man, this guy's taking all my secrets, and now he's shutting me down. I'm not going to be hanging with this dude no more. He's a beast. Yeah, and RJ is a beast.
Yeah. So, Foxy, let's talk about another young player, and that's going to be Obi Toppin. Now, Obi, another player we saw working out in the offseason, working on his handle, something that he was able to display in the Pacers game, and he was able to take a few people off the dribble. Now, is there anything that's sticking out to you with Obi? Because I think Obi played pretty decent defensively with Julius Randle out yesterday.
Yeah, 13 points, 8 rebounds. Mm-hmm. And just in he made a couple of plays so far in this preseason that we didn't see all last season. He made one play that spin move that was just gorgeous. And the guy's getting the ball and he hit a couple. He bricked a couple early, but he got his rhythm going and he hit a couple threes and played above the rim. And he showed that absolutely that him coming in and giving Randall a breather, he's not, the team's going to do well. It's not going to be a dramatic drop off because of what he brings to a team. And I think as he gets more relaxed, and like you said, as Rose on that second team and Quick, and Burks, because he's a vet, and they're like you said, that's going to be a brutal. So I think, and Obi's the type that I think he feeds on that good vibe going. That he's just going to get more confident, and his game is going to be, like I said, slowing down and playing within himself. But getting this ball, this game is about getting the ball in your spots, and he's going to have the guys getting him the ball. Last year, they were giving the ball 30 feet out and like, all right, take it from here quick on your own. That's not his game. So whether, like we said, the Fournier looking off and getting him on the baseline or a couple of the other things, hey, that was sweet, man. That was sweet.
Yeah, I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Obi, and I think it's going to be important for Obi to continue to mature and grow because Julius Randle cannot lead the league again or be at the top of the league in minutes played per game. I think he's phenomenal with what he can provide to us, but if we give him a little bit more of a breather, then he might be, he'll be available. He was available this offseason, but I think he'll be more effective in the postseason for us because I think having to carry a team throughout the whole season. Yes, it was a shorter season. It wasn't the full 82 games, but that's going to wear on you. And he played every game except one. It was 71 games in total. And for Obi to come in the second unit and being able to spell him and also flourish with that second unit, because like you said, D Rose is out there looking for him. You also have Emmanuel Quickly, who's been working out with him at the Westchester facility throughout the offseason. They're starting to build a rapport. And I think we're seeing a core, we're seeing the culture continue to grow. And I think Tom Thibodeau, if he's able to manage the minutes wisely, I think we're going to be able to straddle that line where we can continue to compete to get further into the playoffs while cultivating the talent that we have on the roster. And that's not something a lot of teams are able to do.
I agree. And at this stage, like we said, I think that confidence level is going to bring his game. You know, like we said, the mental part of the game. So him, it looks like Thibs is going to be yelling at Sims this year instead of Obi. But
Well, that's if Sims gets on the court, because if we're fully healthy, I don't think Sims is on the court.
no doubt, I totally agree. But that's a big if.
Yeah.
I didn't expect New Orleans. We knew New Orleans was going to be fragile, and we knew that they were being cautious with Mitch, and rightly so. But this is very valuable minutes. There's nothing in the G League that could do what this kid's getting in just preseason games, and also just practicing with the team. And those reps, man, are worth their weight in gold. So yeah. So my big thing is I know we're gonna have a good season, but I'm razor focused on Thibs. Like you said, we can't have guys. He has a terrible history, folks. What he did in Chicago, what he did in Minnesota. In Chicago, Butler led the league in minutes when and the same thing, Noah, and then he goes to Minnesota and Wiggins and Cat. The minutes were crazy. So I'm worried that I'm not worried, but I'm focused on making sure is Thibs going to not have history repeat itself, and is he going to, like we just said about, hey, you got Obi. You could rest him. The same thing. You have Quick at the shooting guard. You could bring in Burks at the shooting guard. You could bring in Grimes at the shooting bar. The whole thing is to win a chip. It makes no sense for us to have a 50 win some odd season and then not have nothing left for the playoffs. So he has to really. And one of the beautiful things that we saw, it was funny because when we were going over the last few shows, talking about the first team, the starters, and the second team, we brought up, and I said, you know what? In my world, a perfect thing would be about 22 minutes for Kemba, 22 minutes for Rose, and maybe 4 minutes for Quick at the guard, and they played basically 21 minutes each. So they were right in that neighborhood. So I think if we can keep Kemba, and that's the beauty of having, at one point, they were cold as ice, Kemba, and Rose changed everything. So I think there's some nights where one's going to pick up the other. But that's such a wonderful, gift from the Lord that we have now with this team, but also having Kemba and Rose together. It's almost like built-in minutes management, because you're like saying, if I was the coach or Thibs saying, I got to get Rose in there. And then the same thing after Rose playing well, I got to get Kemba back in there, that it worked out in these first two games of basically coming in at those minutes mark. So that's great. That'll keep them fresh rather than, putting in grinding minutes, like he's done in the past.
Well, we'll see if Tibbs is willing to change his strategy because, I mean, he did it in the preseason game, but then again, that's preseason, and even then, I was shocked he wasn't giving the starters crazy minutes or a high workload. But we'll see, Foxy. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about Tibbs a little bit more too because his rotations last season definitely drove me crazy. And it's hard to get a feel of what he's going to try to do in the regular season. Seeing that we're missing Mitch, we're missing Nerlens, and now Derrick Rose is going to be dealing with a ankle injury that I'm hoping they're going to baby throughout the preseason. How do you feel about the injury, Tibbs? I mean, Tibbs, Foxy.
Uh, it's funny you said that. I was, as crazy as it sounds, I'm elated that they're 2-0 and they've looked well in the ball movement and the spacing and everything. I was livid at the end of the game yesterday. I was like, I brought up last week that there was an article by Haley O'Shaughnessy from The Ringer about the 5 stages of Tom Thibodeau. And, I'm watching, I hate that cliche history repeats itself. But when I saw Rose on that thing, and I'm like saying, this is preseason, we're up by double digits, there's only a few minutes left. Why is he in the game? And then, and I'm seeing RJ there, and I'm saying, why the hell is he keeping these guys? And, Geraldine MacGyver, shout out to you and salute. But she just touched on it that I don't think he can coach any other way. Folks, if one of our stars get injured because in garbage time because he's refusing to change his coaching, that's a fireable offense for me. That if you're not looking out for your players' well-being, there's just no reason why RJ or Rose were out yesterday. So I'm glad he smiled and everything like that. But like he's saying, sprained ankles, they're chronic, man. It's hard to get rid of them. And the season hasn't started yet. Get him the hell out of there with a few minutes left. Give our kids a few minutes of burn.
Yeah, I mean, Tibbs is going to be who he is. As long as nothing egregious happens, I'll live with it. But yes, Foxy, you're right. The longer he keeps these players in there, the more likely they are at risk, for potential injury. Same thing in practice. Imagine what he's doing in practice.
Yeah. It's, if you don't mind, 1 second. Yeah. So, folks, I just want to, I'm just going to, do the crib notes of this. But like I said, Haley O'Shaughnessy wrote this about almost 2 years ago. And the name of the article is The 5 Steps to Every Tom Thibodeau Coaching Cycle. The first one is toasting the hire. So when he was hired in Chicago, even Obama sent the thing to Chicago saying, great hire because of all the things he did at Boston for his defense and everything. So when he first gets to a team, it's fantastic. And not only are they happy that they hired him, the second stage is called auspicious beginnings. And where the team turns around. And we saw that with Chicago. We saw that with Minnesota. And we saw it last time. But this is the third part, playing time and practices. And the writer wrote, once Luol Deng came to the Bulls practice facility to get a few shots up alone, he unexpectedly ran into Thibodeau. His new coach put the unsuspecting Deng through one of the toughest workouts I've ever done. And in 2017, the Timberwolves took a 14-hour flight to China for a worldwide training. Upon landing, Thibodeau called for a practice. Taj Gibson said, we didn't even have time to unpack. So his players logged so many minutes in Chicago that the front office was forced to intervene. In 3 of Thibs' 5 years with the Bulls, either Jimmy Butler or Deng led the league in average minutes played. When Deng was traded, the scouts said he was run into the ground. His injury and Derrick Rose multiple injuries are all blamed on Thibodeau. And the weirdest part is, and rather than learning his lesson, and, Minnesota was even worse. Wiggins and Towns, like I said, led the league in minutes. Zach LaVine was on pace to finish ahead of both of them, but he blew out his ACL. So, and then, during this stage, the players got exhausted. And then the weird part is the meeting. So the fourth stage is the meeting where the players finally get fed up with it. And the weird part is a lot of people don't even know in history that in January of 2015, Derrick Rose, frustrated by playing such heavy minutes without the results, told reporters, everybody got to get on the same page. Until then, we're going to keep getting our ass kicked. And then the same thing happened with the Wolves with Jimmy Butler. So it becomes a love affair, but then he starts grinding his players into the ground between these practices. and just the minutes played. So that's why at the end, reading this article, it's almost a 2-year-old, and then the end, the cycle invariably concludes, with him getting fired. And I don't want to see that happen. He was coach of the year last year, but we saw that in the playoffs they had, and that's a 72-game season, they had nothing left. And then I'm watching the game yesterday saying, I'm seeing Rose on the ground. I'm seeing RJ in the last few minutes saying, the same thing. This guy, as Geraldine said, that's who he is. Hey, if you're hurting your guys, then that's not cool. I don't care if you won Coach of the Year, but he's 25-36 career-wise in the playoffs, and maybe that's because his players have nothing left when it counts. So, folks, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, definitely something we have to keep an eye on, Thibs, and how many minutes he's playing these guys. Like I said, it makes no sense for us to have a team this deep and for Thibs to kind of rely too heavily on some of the top tier players on this roster. Let players like Obi, let players like Quick, get some minutes and try to take away some of the pressure off some of these starters and some of these older guys. Like especially like Kemba Walker, Derrick Rose, players that have issues with staying healthy.
Yeah, exactly. But also, Randall, he's been incredibly durable in his career, other than his first 14 minutes in the league where he broke his leg. But other than that, he's been durable. But he's a really thickly muscled guy, and same thing with RJ. You just got to be cool with those dudes. So I'm thinking positive. But, I couldn't help but lie to my family, the SV Nation in the chat, that I was concerned at the end of the game yesterday saying, come on, Thibs, man, you can't be doing this. If D-Rose, we're seeing how Obi game came to another level, how Kevin Knox's game went to another level by having point guards, getting him, both of them, the balls in their spot. You take out Derrick Rose, that's a huge, a fresh Derrick Rose, and you noticed it. You mentioned to me when you were actually at the game that he still has burst, man. It gets lost in the game. The first thing I said, folks, to Quis is it's like going to a baseball game. It's like you watch it on TV and then you go to the baseball game in person and you're like, Jesus, I can't see the ball. It's a different game in person. And one of the first things Quis said to me is like, wow, Derrick still has burst, man. So we want to keep that freshness and like you said, with this depth, there's no reason why we can't get into the playoffs being one of the freshest teams, one of the best well-conditioned teams, rather than one of the most exhausted teams.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, I was actually at the Pacers game. I went with him.
Yeah, I know.
I probably should have led with that.
Did you take any pictures?
Well, yeah, Derrick. I took a few pictures, nothing crazy.
Yeah. I didn't know the post and stuff like that. We love seeing that stuff.
Yeah. I post a couple pictures on Twitter. That's why you got to follow the channel on Twitter, man. Sometimes I'm not able to post everything on YouTube. YouTube is more so video format. I try to get as many pictures out on community posts. But if you want to stay up to date with the channel and are going along with the following the Knicks, make sure you're following the channel at Sports Vibes TV. All right, Foxy, you mentioned somebody at the end of your comment, and that was Kevin Knox. Kevin Knox was out there looking pretty decent. He was 4 of 6 from 3, if I'm not mistaken. He was also able to get into the paint. He had a nice assist to Jericho Sims. So
beautiful assist to Sims.
Yeah. And when I think sometime mid-season last year, I made a video saying that Kevin Knox has some playmaking abilities, and
he does.
Killing me in the comments. I thought I was the only one that saw it, but he showed some of that tonight. I mean, not tonight, last night, when he was able to find Jericho Sims. He's able to put the ball on the floor a little bit more and do some more of that. That would be nice. But do you think he's going to be able to wrestle some minutes from an Alec Burks and get some minutes? Or do you think he'll have to go head to head with an Obi Toppin and try to get minutes at the 4?
I think possibly both. I think that he's better suited because of strength purposes at the 3, I think, than at the 4. But again, if he shoots, again, from a spacing standpoint, he has such a beautiful shot. And, and he wasn't strictly a corner 3, if you noticed. He was hitting threes from different places yesterday. Last year, if he wasn't a corner 3, it was nothing. So, but like I said earlier when we started the broadcast, is what a difference point guards who get the kid. This guy, we knew he can score. He's prototype size and everything. But how many times did we see him? He's not known for getting the ball, making his own shot. And they'd give him the ball, and if he even hit a shot, and you're like, oh, he hit a second shot, that's his spot there. And then you're like, whether it's Peyton or whomever, you're like, they didn't pass the kid the ball again. What's going on? So Knox is a good problem to have. Anybody who can shoot like that. You know what I thought about yesterday when I watched him? I think it looked to me that he was playing. He wasn't thinking. And you want especially young guys, sometimes they think too much. And when you think too much, everything goes wrong. You just want them to, as we talked about that phrase, muscle memory. He practices so much. Just let the game come to him, so he looked relaxed out there, and the ball went in. And so, like you said, whether the thing with Burks is historically he's going to be out a couple of times this season with an ankle or something. His whole career, he's always had a couple of stints on the injured list. Hopefully there won't be any issues with Randall. But if Obi, twist an ankle or something, Knox is a nice insurance policy, for us to have. If he can shoot like that, that changes again. That's our spacing.
Yeah,
And
there's
he
still
also
some
had a
things he has
dunk
to work
cutting.
on defensively. Oh, my bad, Fox. You kind of cut off there. I thought you finished.
No, I was just going to say, but he also did some nice cuts. He had a dunk and stuff like that. So, I think seeing his game expand a little more. Yeah. So I'm sorry. You going to say about defense?
No problem. No, I think there's still some stuff he has to work on defensively that Thibs might hold against him. But everything else we saw out there in the brief amount of time he was on the court was positive. I think Kevin Knox is showing that he's taking this last season on his contract seriously. And if he's going to continue to play like this, he's going to force himself into the lineup, because we have to see what we have in Kevin Knox. I know this regime isn't necessarily the one that drafted him, but I mean, he's an asset. And if we are able to put him out there on the court in positions to succeed, like you said, with a point guard like Derrick Rose, point guard like Kemba Walker, then we can kind of put him out there and showcase him to the rest of the league, because if he's not going to be with us long term after this year, then we should build up his value and at least try to get something from him or for him. So I was hyped to see Kevin Knox go out there and knock down the three. It was definitely something that I wasn't expecting. I knew he was going to end up getting more minutes with Julius Randle out, but to sit here and say I thought he was going to have that kind of shooting performance, to me, it kind of took me aback. But I'm hyped for him. I was excited after I saw the end of that game, and it makes me. I want to see more from Kevin Knox. I want to see what else he can contribute to this team, because, as you know, I'm not the biggest Alec Burks fan. So if we can see Kevin Knox step up and try to wrestle some minutes away from him, that would be, I think, the perfect scenario for me, because I'd rather move on from Alec Burks in a reasonable deal than give up on Kevin Knox, who's young, who's a player that we saw go out there and at times be able to put up over 30 points. Yeah, he has the size, he has the shooting ability, he has the physical gifts. So if we're able to get something out of him, I'd rather have him be the backup three than Alec Burks, who is serviceable as well.
Word. I'm with you 100% on that one. Like you said, I'd rather have a tall, long kid who can shoot threes and, is prototype for the term 3-and-D. Very few 3-and-D guys make their own shots. They're good on defense and they can drill it from three, and also defense, as we know, it's hard without real game minutes and reps to build on your defensive game. There's only so much you can learn in practice. It's a different speed in practice than it is in a real game. But yeah, I'd love, and we've seen guys, Christian Wood, and there's some guys, unfortunately, that take 4 or 5 years for their game to come around. And folks, it'd be an absolute crime to see Knox lighted up for another team after we just invested this amount of years with them. So patience is a virtue, and hopefully, with the tutelage and his camaraderie with the other guys, and like I said, having point guards get him the ball where he likes it. Yeah, nice. So I think he can take minutes from Burks. I think he can take. I don't know about taking minutes from either Obi or Randall if they're healthy, but it's
no, he's not doing that. He's not doing that with Randall. Obi.
Oh, forget about Randall. They're no, but it's a nice, like I said, it's nice to have somebody on there who could come out and drill it from, and that changes everything because then they got to guard you.
Hmm. So now, Foxy, let's talk about another young player, and that's going to be Jericho Sims. Now, Jericho Sims out there looking like a rebounding beast. How are you feeling about his production? He's getting a lot more minutes than most of us expected. I don't think we entered preseason thinking Mitch and Nerlens Noel would be out, and it seems like Thibs is kind of fibbing to us because at first it was, Nerlens Noel. It's not a big deal. We're just giving him rest, just typical rest. We'll rotate rest throughout the starters, but this is 2 games in a row. Nerlens Noel is not available. So with Jericho Sims being given the opportunity, what are some of the things you're seeing from him?
Like you said, 13 pounds yesterday, man. Him and Taj together had 19 rebounds and 2 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that.
Yep.
And Taj, he did a couple of plays on offense. Folks, Taj still has it in his tank to do a quality 5 minutes a game. He's not anymore for double digit, I don't think. You'll abuse him, but I think he has 5 good minutes a game in him. He's smart. He's like a coach on the floor. He's great like for a kid like Sims. So Sims, yeah, there was a couple of plays, on, like you said, the rebounding, and he made a nice little jump shot, like a jump push shot 4-2, in the paint. That was nice.
Mm-hmm. Something we haven't seen Mitch do.
Something we have not seen Mitch do at all. We have not seen Mitch attempt at all. So he did a really nice screen for Quick, who shot a mid-range late. That's right, folks. You heard me say Quick shot a mid-range jumper, not a mid-range floater. So he did that. But it was a couple of weird plays. He got a ball like it was like 2-3 feet from the hoop, and he didn't shoot the ball. He never even turned around. I thought he was going to go up and try to dunk it or something, but it never occurred to him to try to score when he was that close. But they'll talk to him, and like I said, I think it's wonderful to see Thibs getting angry with him and yelling at him. That's good, folks. That's the type of thing, and it was funny. I was reading a thing about Rose talking about Sims, that he is an introvert,
being an introvert.
Yeah, and Derek is an introvert too. So he's talking to try to have him come out and come out a little more. And it was funny because I mentioned that watching Sims, you can't teach his athleticism, you can't teach his versatility on switches. Very, very his hops, his bounce. But I wish he had a little more nasty in him. He's a real I like a guy. He did get brutalized by Harrell, Montrezl Harrell yesterday. Yeah. So those are the things, but that's we brought up that against savvy vets, he's gonna get a lot of fouls quick. So but he's been fantastic. Couldn't ask more for a 58th pick to come in, to have your first 2 guys injured, and to play the way he's played, coming out screens, like we said. Really, really powerful.
Yeah, in that article you were talking about, they were discussing how Derrick Rose was kind of telling the media that, hey, Sims is going to have to be a lot more vocal out there, especially on defense,
as a big,
because as the defensive anchor, you're going to have to be able to call out what you're seeing from back there.
Yep, exactly.
Part, the guards out there, they don't know what's going on behind them, and you being in the paint most of the time, you're able to let them know, hey, you've got a screen coming left. I'm going to pick up on the pick and roll. You fall back and cover up and stick with my man. So the fact that you see Derrick Rose kind of push him to kind of step up a little bit out there, I think that's pretty good. But there's still, Sims, like you said, he was a late 2nd round pick, so there are things that he's gonna have to work on. I think there were times where both the Wizards and the Pacers were kind of able to get to the paint at will, and there were some lapses with Jericho Sims defensively. So those are some things he's gonna have to work on, and that's probably why you were hearing Thibs through the TV scream at him so often. All you can have was Jericho or Sims. I'm like, dang, coach.
And then on a timeout, he can't.
TV, let him live.
Yeah, and you saw the timeout. Sims comes to the sideline. You saw Thibs look at him and say something to him. But it was funny when you were just talking. It was so visual what you were saying. I'm like saying about communication, and I'm like saying, all Sims has to do is watch old Chicago tapes and watch Noah at that 5 position screaming out communication about defensive assignments. how much they talk. So that'll come around. But like we said, it's invaluable, the experience. And yeah, he was out of position and on plays, and he looked a little. This is the NBA. You just can't walk in like that and perform. But he performed fantastic. I couldn't ask any more. Not only of a 58th pick, if he was a second round pick or a first round pick, it's very difficult for a big to come in. They're big, long, gawky usually, and I was happy. Like I said, 19 rebounds between Taj and Sims. That's a nice insurance policy at the 5.
Yeah, speaking about bigs, I like Gafford.
I think he had 4 blocks. Yeah, I think he had 4
blocks. 3 blocks. I think
in a possession.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I think he went to Arkansas. He's a tough boy. Yeah, I absolutely like him, man. They're a weird team. If they, they're gonna have like 45 points in that backcourt between Dinwiddie and Beal. And then, you have Pope coming off on a defensive standpoint. Kispert didn't have a good game yesterday, but Bryant, they don't have a bad team, folks. They gave up Westbrook, but they got Kuzma, and they have some kids on that team and some players on that team that I'm not saying they're going to be dangerous, but I think they could surprise some team. There's talent on that team.
Yeah, I've liked Gafford since last season. You're saying there's talent. I mean, there's some. They got Bradley Beal.
Hey, Dinwiddie, one of the things that did concern.
Was cooking Kemba.
He was. Thank you. I was about to say he was
a little problematic defensively in both games. We'll talk about that a little bit. But
okay,
finish your point.
No, that was the thing from that I was thinking about. It was like, especially early in the game, the size of Dinwiddie versus a Kemba, and then on switches, you can try to hide him, but there's only so much you can do. You got lit up. So,
yeah, he's a little bit on the smaller side, so they'll try to attack him, especially in the Pacers game. I think the Pacers game more than the Wizards game. You saw them really try to get Kemba out there on an island by himself and try to break down and get into the paint. But, I mean, I think defensively as a team with Thibs, he'll be able to scheme something where we'll be able to protect Kemba. But Foxy, we also got a super chat. I want to give a big shout out to Sincere, the genius. He's got the $5 super chat. He's saying salute to Quis and Foxy. Keep up the good work, and salute to the chat. Salute, salute, salute with 3 S's like Jay Boogie says, right, Foxy?
As our guy Jay Boogie, shout out to him. But Sincere, the genius, thank you so much. You want to take a second and just say hi to our family?
Yeah. We'll take a second, go through the chat. Also want to let you guys know I'll be playing a Jay Boogie song. He's got a song that he just dropped called Podcasting, and we'll be using that to close the show. As you guys know, Jay Boogie typically closes or usually closes the Knicks Fan TV show, but he sent us the song. He's name dropped a few people, so we'll have him close this show as well. I hope he's okay with it, and I hope CP doesn't mind.
No doubt. But so shouting out Gerpy, hope all is well. Geraldine MacGyver, as always, thank you so much for your support. Oldie, OG, Staffadon, always appreciate your support. Big Task at Hand, one of our great mods. Trucking with Mr. Coach. Hey, hi, hope all is well. Salute to you. Salute. Ron Cowan, one of our favorites, always insightful comments and stuff like that. Will Salkin, I hope all is well with you and the family. Hope all is good. Tay Millie, Bomb Squad. Did you ever see Tay Millie in the chat before?
Say that one time. You kind
of Tay Millie. I don't know. You don't look familiar. All I'm going to say, if this is your first time, please put the thumbs up, so we can give you a proper shout out. Ron Cowan said, "I'm loving the Knicks ball movement, and there are 4 guys on the floor that can shoot and create off the dribble, and they're getting out on the break." Great point, Ron. I think they had 16 fast break points yesterday, and that's a revelation for the Knicks compared to last year. Hey, one of our favorites, Soulfinger, my friend from San Diego, always kind words, really knows his hoops. Hope all is well. Hope California is treating you well. San Diego is one of those beautiful cities. Well, it was before Newsom was governor, but it's still pretty good.
I've actually never been to San Diego. I gotta go one day. I've never been to the West Coast. Furthest I've gone is Vegas, and that was from Summer League.
San Diego is one of the nicest cities in the country, man. It's a place that you want to just retire to. So MTOs vids, shout out again if you're new. Please put the thumbs up so we know. Dyer XYT.
Yeah, that's my guy Derek. I used to work with him back in the day.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Former coworker.
Hey, our guy George, Into the Knicks First, folks. One of the great guys. If you haven't subscribed to George and Into the Knicks First, please support our guy. Fantastic content. Fantastic guy. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. George said, team is still experimenting, but got 2 blowouts already, and they really haven't played that great. I'm so hyped. Me too, George. Exactly. It's just preseason. We're not trying to overact and everything, but what we're seeing, what we said, that spacing, the shooting, the 3-level scoring, the selflessness. That's the markings of a good team. Michael Jones. Hey, your finger's healing. He got a burn last week. Our friend Michael Jones. Yeah, so I'm glad.
I was going to respond, but you already took care of it. So I said, all right, Fox.
Got to take care of the family. And I look after my family that way. So I'm glad it's healing now, man. Burns are not fun. Chef NYK, hey, one of the great guys. Yep, he definitely put work on his handles. I agree with you, Chef. It's really noticeable. Jumped off the screen to me, man. Keyshawn, one of the gold dudes. Hope all is well, Keyshawn. Pool crack. Again, if you're new, please give us a thumbs up. Chef NYK, do traditional point guards still exist? I think that's the $1 million question. I don't know, because you've heard me say before that the kids, in high school, most of the guys in the NBA are usually men among boys in high school. So they just go to the hole because nobody can stop them. They play the same way in AAU, and then they get to college and they're one and done. So being a point guard, so much is from the Lord, but they don't have a chance to really refine it from coaching. So they come into the league and they can shoot threes and they can dunk, but they don't know how to play defense, and they don't know how to make the players around them better. So that's why I don't know if there's traditional point guards anymore, but having a Kemba, having a D Rose, that's a real good tutor mentorship for our young guys, whether it's Quick or whether it's Deuce.
Right.
Yeah, Knicks and Six, one of the good guys, supports all the different channels. Headed to work, but a quick shout out. Hey, thanks so much. Appreciate all your support, Knicks and Six. You're awesome, man. Big task. Salute to everyone that's new to the chat. Thanks for tuning in. I agree with you. Let's see. RJ has to work on separation and use the Euro step more. He has it. I agree. Like we said, he missed. He has to take different angles in the paint. He has to finish better. That's what he has to build on. We saw that 3-point shot yesterday. He's great on the catch and shoot, man. The shot is pure, but now we just got to get that kid being more efficient, finishing in the paint. So, or addition. I want to see more assists from him. Keyshawn said, Obi got no post presence. I think what Chef NYK is there any such thing as traditional point guards? Is anybody doing post up work anymore in the NBA?
Back to the basket big, other than Taj Gibson,
or the Joker. So,
but even him, it's a lot of face up with him.
A lot of face up, but he does have the capability if you get him the ball down low for him to do that. Yeah, but Keyshawn, one of the issues. Yeah, I think one of the issues with Obi is his strength. That he has to get the right matchup or mismatch, because it's very difficult for Obi to post up a 4 in this league. I don't think he's strong enough. So he has to either post up on a switch a 3, because he's definitely not going to post up a 5. Forget about it's hard enough with a 4. Forget about a 5. So it has to be the right, switch and getting him in the right, the guy's seeing that he's in the right thing. Boost mobile, whatever.
I don't really want Obi to be a back to the basket presence.
I agree.
I mean,
I agree with you.
Operates at the 4, and he's not really a back to the basket type of power forward. It's fine if he's a face up. We just need him to attack the basket as opposed to settling for long twos and contested threes.
Yeah, totally agree. Mike Notes said we are finally developing players. I agree with you, man. I agree with you. Boost my the mods. Yep. Let's see. Gerald.
Foxy, I found a funny one.
All right.
Citizen X, he's saying, I like this guy. Invite him again. Foxy's on with me on Sundays. He has an open invitation.
Well, thanks, Citizen X. I appreciate that. I like to be liked, so you made my night. So Ron Cowan said,
boss.
Yeah, Ron Cowan said that Rose claims it's nothing serious. I never trust any ball player when they say that, but hopefully that's the truth. Let's see. And then the Bulls and Wolves have been, left though. Yep, no doubt. Let's see. Third eye open. Knicks need to trade some of their 6 first-round picks and 11 second-round picks to get a floor spacing center. Cat, Turner, Jokic in 2023, or disgruntled star Beal, Dame, Cat, CJ. Oh, I know we have a lot of first-round picks. I just want us to be selective. What I want us to get is a 6'9" wing, 6'9", small forward that has a 7-foot wingspan. Hey, folks, have you seen what Trey Murphy's doing? It's only preseason, but he's lighting it up for the Pelicans, man. The kid is not only shooting, but rebounds. We were that close. We should have shut up. We should have called my Uncle Vito to say, everybody, don't say the Knicks like Trey Murphy. But, man, that was the prototype player that could have made a difference on this team, meaning from a development standpoint. He's going to, this is preseason. He's going to have his tough moments, but you can't, that kid can shoot, and he's rebounding. And like I said, 6'9" with a 7-foot plus wingspan. Yo, that's what I want. A third eye open. Use our draft picks if somebody comes up like that. Get the 3 of our future. I don't know if Knox shot well yesterday, but he has to do a lot more than for me to turn around and say use our 3 of the future. Be civilized, our guy. Always a great supporter. Salute. Let's go. Putting those pieces together to complete that puzzle towards a chip. Yep. Knew you can be contenders this year if healthy and play. Yep. Couldn't say it any better, my friend. Yeah. If we are smart, keep the players healthy, we have the depth to do it. Get everybody excited, everybody feeling they're part of the team, nobody left out. Yeah, it could be something special. Let's see. So Fax Foxy, you hit the nail on the head. Thank you, Soulfinger. You're always so kind, man. He always has really, really nice things. Duras, yo, my guy Duras. Hope all is well. Lex the Destroyer. Thanks, folks. There's just so many of you. We really always never want to miss any of our family. Hans Guitar. Hey, good to see you again. I'm hyped for Kevin Knox. Me too. So, hey, Hans Guitar, you like guitar? What guitars do you play? I love my guitars. I play Taylor Acoustics.
Back in the day.
Oh, I love bass.
Yeah, I played the alto, the drums, the bass, and the piano.
Yeah, I play guitars.
To play any now, I might not be able to do it, but I do.
I play Taylor Acoustics, and I have a PRS electric with a Marshall stack. So, and as I always say to somebody, that I'm a terrible guitarist, but I hope to be bad in a few years.
Hey, that's called progress, right, Foxy?
Exactly. It's from being horrible to terrible to bad.
Hey, Foxy, we got a new viewer alert.
Yeah.
Kate, new to this channel, not to YouTube. Hope it goes well.
Hey, welcome to the family, to the SV Nation. Salute. Hey, one of my favorite people in the world is with us tonight, Justin L. I love that guy, man.
Justin L is in the building.
Yeah, hope all is well, Justin, with you and the family. You're such a wonderful guy. B. Simmons, I still think it's a little too late for Knox, which is sad because his skill set would be perfect for this team. I don't know if it's too late, but the clock's running out. B. That this is it, man. He's making the money, and I'd love for him to. It's now or never. La da da da. Coach takes every game seriously from summer league to preseason. Dan Jones, word. You couldn't say it any better. So Anton Cates, thank you again for for joining the family, man. Really, really appreciate it. Warren Franklin, Charlie Ward's cousin. How are you, man? Hope you had a good week and a good Sunday. Hopefully your football teams did better than our football teams. So,
man, brutal.
Brutal.
Don't bring it up, Foxy.
I won't. Ixnay on the Wixnay. So
injuries. Like, where do we go from here? I just don't know.
Thinking about draft choices next year.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's going to be coming down to that pretty soon. So let's see.
Now we got an extra game to wait before we can get to the draft.
Yeah, Selfinger agrees with me. I'm with you, Foxy. A big wing is what I'm still screaming about. Maybe Knox can start to be that guy again. Yeah, I hope so, man. I hope so. You know, I play a Fender Strat, Hans guitar. Yo, Strat. Oh, nothing like a Strat. One of my favorite guitarists in the world, David Gilmour, Pink Floyd, loves his Strat. So, yeah.
Musicians in the chat, Foxy.
Yeah, he's a Jimi Hendrix fan.
Set up a band one day.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it has to be better than that damn guys on Friday Night Knicks. You know, it sounds like a Holiday Inn lounge.
Foxy, another instrument I played is called the tambourine. Are you familiar? Not the one with the bells, but if you go and listen to a samba, they've got it's almost like a tambourine with the bells, but instead you have like a stick and you. I used to have fun back in there playing instruments. It's dope. Yeah. It's a tambourine. We'll check out some samba.
You're gonna be like a Tito Puente.
Yeah, right. Find me out there in the South Bronx playing music.
Yo, I'm a Castle Hill, so we were in South Bronx, but we were Castle Hill Projects where I grew up. Yeah, well, Soundview, where Kemba played, and a few of my family here in the chat are from the Soundview area. So
Soundview stand up.
Yeah, exactly. Yo, Duras, a Fender jazz bass. Yeah, anybody who can play without frets is my type of dude. So, yep. Let's see. Who I just saw said, I think Ron Cowan said he used to play sax. So, I love my good sax, man. Well, my little boy, we named Miles because my wife and I, one of our favorite musicians is Miles Davis. So we love anything to do with horn. We love Stan Getz on sax. And like I said, I love my Pink Floyd. So Pink Floyd uses a lot of horns and stuff like that in their arrangements. So although if somebody say, hey, Foxy, what's your favorite band of all time? I'm a Led Zeppelin guy. I'm so old, I saw Led Zeppelin in person, folks. And downstairs in my little man cave, I have pictures of second row taken of Jimmy Page, the guitar god. So
my favorite band is the Migos.
Why are you the coolest dude? Yo, Boost Mobile said, yo, we got a whole band on the show. Yo, we just got to get Jay Boogie to be our lead singer, and we're going to be tight.
Somewhere. Turn up.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so that's tight, Foxy. Yeah, so that's what I love on Sunday nights, folks. We're going to talk Knicks, we'll talk, but we love just hanging with you, man. Whatever comes to our mind, and God, I love music. I live for music. There's not a day that goes by where my wife doesn't say, could you lower that a little, please? So, as I always say, it's made loud to be played loud. Citizen X, I'm from the Bronx, Soundview. Yo! Yeah, so where Castle Hill Projects are. That's a blink from you, man. Soundview down by the Shore Haven section.
We got John in chat. Shout out to John Talento. He actually made an appearance in CP's documentary.
Yeah, Talento, I know for a long time now.
His screen name on the screen.
Yeah, so Killing in the Name of Love, Rage Against the Machine. So John's always one of the great mods in the Knick fandom and one of the great guys in the Knick fandom. So hi, John. I hope all is well. The Locks are top 5 DOA. So
he's only saying that because he saw the verses. He smoked Dipset.
I can listen to Hendrix all day while watching our Knicks play. Yo, Hendrix was a legend, man. Absolutely, absolute legend. But it was funny because interviews, because I'm a guitar freak. When they asked Jimi Hendrix who his favorite guitarist, he said the guitarist in the band Chicago. So, which was interesting. So Chicago used to be the Chicago Transit Authority 100 years ago, but a lot of people Chicago played a lot of good music, man. Yeah.
So Foxy,
Yep.
let's talk a little bit more about Kimba.
Okay.
How have you felt about how he's played so far? In the first game, I've got his numbers. Decent game, 5 of 10 from the field. What he had 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 12 points in total. And in the second game against the Wizards, he didn't have a great showing. 2 of 7 from the field, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and only 6 points. And he had the lowest or the second lowest plus minus. No, he had a few people better than him. Gibson, Fournier, and Barrett had worse plus minuses. So, how do you feel about that Kemba Walker acquisition? Do you think the concerns about how he fit with the team defensively are valid?
I think it's valid. Anytime you're barely 6 feet in the NBA, it's going to be a big concern because it's a big league, big strong league, and they're just so smart to run switches, and all of a sudden you're not on a point guard anymore. You're on a 6'5" shooting guard with a 6'9" wingspan, and that's really tough if you're barely 6 foot. But to answer, I'm elated with Kemba. Like I said, so many games last year, myself and the Knicks fandom, we'd be watching the game with Peyton, and we're just like, he's killing the pace. He just comes down, he kicks it into Randall, and that's the end of the possession. So, I'm really happy, and like I said, having a Rose that's almost like a built-in minutes manager. That we got to get D Rose some minutes, so let's take out Kemba. So I think they can both be fresh. But getting back to your thing, Kemba's going to be fantastic for this team. I think him loving to come back, and I didn't see, obviously it's only a couple of games, but I didn't see dramatically that this is not the same Kemba, meaning that it didn't look like he was playing on one leg at all. What do you think?
Yeah, I didn't really see him like as if he was hampered by the
Didn't
knee.
look
He
like he
still
was
looked like he
laboring or
still,
anything. There was one
yeah, he
play
still has
against the
similar
Pacers. He went
explosion,
to the
similar
hole.
quickness.
Yeah, he still has, but he's the type of guy. It was funny. I thought there's sometimes when you watch the combine in the NFL, you watch a guy and you see him run the 40, and you're like, oh wow, he was jogging, and then the times comes up 4-4, and you're like, oh Jesus, man, the guy's flying, but he didn't look like he was doing anything. It was the same thing with Kemba, that you don't realize how quick or fast he is because of that he's just so smooth. But then all of a sudden you realize that he has a step, and even if he doesn't take the shot, he brought everybody out of position to set somebody up. So I think
Hmm.
he's going to have an incredible impact on this team. I'm so excited that when I saw him play, and then I'm like, D Rose came in, and like I said, and the beauty is on a night that maybe he's off, D Rose will take over, and what night D Rose is off, Kemba will take over, and if they don't, then we have IQ and Deuce to take over. So yeah, I think for the money that we got, I don't know who, I'm hopefully we can get a couple of years out of Kemba, but we'll take it game by game. And I think he's going to make a huge, huge difference to this team. And he's happy. He's home. He's happy. And you heard him saying that he wanted to play with D Rose. And so all of it, at this stage of his career, he has his money. He has all his things. Now, if he could bring a winning team to his hometown, I think he can go to the Lord and say, "You can take me now. It's not going to get better. I help my New York Knicks become a winner again, and he will help us become a winner again with that game."
Yeah, I think it's basically what we expected. He is going to provide a big upgrade offensively, and you're going to see some step backs defensively. But I think yes, he was left out to dry a few times defensively, taken to the basket, gave up a few buckets, but it didn't affect the team to the point where it allowed the Wizards or the Pacers to start a run. I mean, if you look at the entirety of the game, Pacers still didn't shoot great, and the Wizards shot even worse.
Yeah.
So if we are going to still be able to be a solid team defensively, and we're bringing in Kimbo, where he's going to do all the things you just mentioned, be able to penetrate, kick it out, and at least if he's not getting the assist, he's going to get the hockey assist because now that second player is going to find another player, whether that be Obi in the wing or let's say RJ in the wing, and then now we're getting good quality looks. So as long as Kimba's continuing to do that, I'll take some of the defensive liability that he's going to provide to this team. Because at the end of the day, he's still going to be a player. I think JD from JD Sports Talk made a phenomenal video on Kimba talking about how he's able to draw charges. He's been able to draw charges in both of the last few games. So he is going to be a liability sometimes defensively, but he's going to have moments where he's going to cause a turnover by drawing a charge, or he's going to be able to knock a deep three. There was a shot in the game. I forgot what quarter it is. Might have been the third, where he knocked a deep three from the top of the key. And I think that type of range, and with his type of quickness and his ball handling ability, it's going to be hard for defenders. They're going to have to pick one to give up. And if he's going to kill you from three, that's just going to benefit us. You saw us go out there and shoot 52 threes and shoot at right around 46% from three, if I'm not mistaken. And that's a crazy number.
Yeah.
So if you're going to take away him driving, he'll kill you from three. And if you're going to step up, he'll be able to penetrate, and he'll get great looks for Fournier, RJ, Randall, and whoever else is out there on the court with him. So I think because he makes things so difficult for defenses, I'll accept whatever he's going to give us out there on the other side of the court.
Yeah, but the beauty of it is that we talked about last week that we averaged 107 points last year. We put up 117 and put up 125. So effortlessly, exactly. And this is without our top player the last game. So if we're putting up points like that, you know what? You know, Kemba could put up another. We gave up 104 points last year. You know what? If we give up 110 points and then putting up 117, that's a higher delta. That's a 7-point delta than last year of 107 to 104. So a 3-point delta from our offense to our defense last year. So yeah, so Kemba, absolutely. But if Kemba's putting on the offense like that, hey, people could say the same stuff with Trey. But what he brings to an offensive game and what he brings to the flow of the game is immeasurable. And I think the same thing's going to happen with Kemba.
Hey, quick shout out. Josh, Uncle Fulio pulled up to the chat. Salute.
Salute. Josh, good guy. Check him out. His show, The Controversy, great guy. And also Josh, Soulfinger, Delano, our guy Ron Cleveland, everybody that served in the armed forces. We really appreciate all your service. You know, we talk about our players, that they're heroes. Fellas, you're my hero. That you put it on the line and served our country. You're my hero. So shout out to all the vets, everybody. Please let everybody know. Hey, another great guy. I don't know if he's a vet, but just a fantastic guy, Jarvis LaFleur, one of my favorite guys. Hi Jarvis. Hope all is well. And like I said, Delano Steele, one of our mods, but special shout out always. Delano, great takes, great guy, fantastic sense of humor. Finesseful J, I had no clue until you said it. It just shows what it means to the game. I no wonder Lakers are winless. Fizdale curse.
The Fizdale curse. That's what you get when you bring on Fizdale. God bless him.
Yeah, but folks. Yeah, with Knox, he had Fizdale, he had Mike Miller, and now he has Thibs. The kid had 3 coaches already early in his career. So some stability. He has these development coaches. Hopefully he can have the one coach for a little while. So for him to take his game to the next level. So, okay. Just reading with some of my family. So everybody's just saying hi to Delano. Delano is a star in the Knick world. Everybody loves Delano. But I've been loving Delano a long time, so I've been ahead of the line for a long time of my guy Delano. we always have our little thing together. Special shout out to each other because we know he's a special guy, and I always wanted him to know that. So who do you want to talk about next? Okay.
Yeah, we got to give a little bit of love to Taj. I know I've been hard on him. I've said I don't really want him on the court too often, but he's telling me to shut the hell up. He's out there balling. He's showing low post footwork.
I was about to say, did you see that low post fake one way? He went the other way I was like, yo, the spin. I'm like, yo, Taj. That's why I said to you, folks, I think he has 5 minutes in the tank. A game, quality 5 minutes. And like I said.
More than that. How many minutes did he play the last couple games?
But I'm just trying to keep him.
Him, Foxy.
but you know your brother here. I'm trying to keep him fresh for the playoffs, so I don't want to burn out our guy Taj. But
Listen,
like I said,
Foxy,
he's like a
I'd
player
rather Taj
coach.
get 20 minutes in the regular season and then 5 minutes in the postseason because that means Mitch and Nerlens are healthy.
Word, I agree with you. So, but it's nice to have a guy like that. Yeah, he hit a couple of elbow jumpers, pick and pops. That's what I've been asking of Mitch or Nerlens. And here's the old guy doing that. He took a 3-pointer the other night and everything. And like he made
Yeah, from
one,
the corner.
but even if it don't, I like that. It keeps him honest that he's going to do that. So Taj, big shout out to Taj, man.
Hmm.
I don't know where he went for the Fountain of Youth, but power to him, man.
Yeah, I mean, it shows how this offense is like when he took that three. I mean, I didn't look at it and say, "Oh, what is he doing?" Because it came within the flow of the offense.
Thank
It's
you.
not like he
Exactly.
forced that three. Yeah,
Yeah,
he had a nice open look, and if those are the shots Mitch and Nerlens are gonna be taking when they're out there on the court,
I'm
then
down.
well, I don't know about Nerlens. Nerlens, I'm a little nervous. His jump shot does not look that fluid to
Folks,
me
I
from what
think
I've
Nerlens
seen.
just killed a geese. There was a goose up in here, and that shot, because last year a couple of shots that Obi took, I'm like, I'm not sure, but I think the air traffic controller in Newark just saw that shot on the air. That was way
Yeah,
up there, folks. But Nerlens, hey, you know what? It's about motivation too. You let the guy take a couple of shots. Hey, you don't want him to take a shot in a game, in crunch time, but during, like you
hmm,
said, poetically, in the flow of the game. If it's there, no one's around 5-10 feet. Hey, we saw a couple of things over the last couple of games where nobody was in 5 feet. The guy set his feet and nailed it. These are pro players. You give him a set shot
hmm.
like that where no one's around, even a guy like Noel, he's gonna drain one of these days.
Yeah, the ball movement just has defenders looking crazy. So after a while, they're just like, "Oh man." But hey, Foxy, I don't know if you saw it. I can't remember what quarter it was, but there was a rotation that Taj was supposed to go out to the corner. Obi was on the opposite corner, right? And the ball ended up getting swung to the opposite side. So Obi wanted to come get into the paint and then have Taj go out to the corner. And Taj was like, "No, young fella, you're gonna have to run from one end of the court to the other end of the court to contest that shot because it's not gonna be me." It was
Exactly.
hilarious. Like I gotta look where to see where in the game that
You
happened.
got them young
But it had me
legs.
dying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obi was like, that's you," and Taj
Yeah, I
was
thought
like,
he was going
"No,
to
it
do
is not."
the Matumbo.
The Mutombo,
I
yeah.
ain't running over there.
Yeah. I'm the center. I put that 1 foot in the paint.
Exactly. Boost Mobile said Taj worked on his game this summer. That new contract made Taj step up. Yeah. And like I said, it's written all over him to be an NBA coach someday, I think. I think what he's doing now, the way he knows the game and stuff like that, I could definitely see him as a coach. Hey, in 15 years, I could see Quick as a coach. He looks like you hear Thibs talking about he's a relentless student of the game. He watches film. Once he masters something, he takes something on. So that's why I'm so up on Quickley. I love people that are students of the game that work hard on their game. Both with the physical skills and the knowledge. As we talked about, this is a game of tendencies. So knowing what the guy on the other team is going to be doing, what's his spots, what do they like to do, what do they not like to do, those are the things that you learn watching all that film.
And Foxy, you speak of tendencies. Fournier was interviewed recently, and he was talking about how he has to, work a little bit to gel with Julius Randle because Julius Randle has those tendencies. Where does he like the ball? What are we gonna do in a dribble handoff? Where do you need the rock? Where do I need the rock? And where do we need to go after we complete the handoff? And they were talking about that in the press conference. I guess it was more so like an interview, a media session. And that's another thing we have to understand. These players are all going to take time to get familiar with each other, especially Kemba and Fournier. The rest of the squad, for the most part, they've been
Especially
with each
second
other
team.
last season. Yeah, especially the second season. I mean, second team. But the starters, they're gonna have to work a little bit to click. And the fact that we're able to put up 101 points in a third quarter, and not in the third quarter, by the third quarter in a game, and we're still trying to learn how to play together as a team. I mean, as a Knicks fan, you're like,
We
this
put up
is night and
43.
day from what
We
you're
put up
used to seeing.
43s through 3 quarters.
Yeah, it's bonkers.
Yeah, but I
I
know
don't know
it's
what team I'm looking
contagious.
at because you
I
have a
know.
lot of the same players, and it's just a different style of play.
Yeah,
Completely
911.
different
Yes,
style of play.
somebody. I need to report somebody did something to my New York Knicks. Something's happened here. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, that's wonderful. I hope Geraldine and any other ladies in the chat. This is not meant as a comment, but I was really aggravated last year by the refing, the referees. I thought it was a terrible year for the refs last year. And yesterday there was a blonde ref. It happened to be a lady, but she was terrible. I don't know what she didn't know what the hell she was doing. So I was just saying to myself, folks, I hope there's not going to be another bad year. I'm all for diversity. I'm all for women. I'm all for everything, but just be good at it. Don't give, some of the things last year. And it was like today in the Giant game, I felt that way. There was an official who happened to be a woman. I'm like, what the hell is going on here, man? I thought that ball crossed the plane, but hey, it's 2021.
What, on the Booker touchdown? Where they had to reverse it?
No, I forgot to play. Maybe it wasn't but I don't know if you noticed that she was at the goal line making calls and stuff like that. So Stephen Fox, you good. Geraldine, thank you. Geraldine, never want to be say anything. Anyway, my wife would kick my ass if I did. So that's that's the good thing of being a son of a very strong woman and being married to a strong woman that they know. Check. Yeah, they keep me in check, and I wouldn't want it any other way. I love a good, strong woman. A lot of first-year lady last year. Yeah, Boost Mobile, I agree. So there's definitely ladies that can get the job done, not just that one lady. Oh, no doubt, Will. No doubt. It was just that one yesterday. I don't think Thibs was happy with her either. I don't know if Thibs is happy with any ref.
Yeah, right. Until after the game's done and he's got a victory. If he's won and the game's over, then he can laugh and chuckle it up. But if he lost, he's gonna tell you about it right at the buzzer.
Yeah.
Geraldine is saying, "Don't talk to me about them Giants." Yeah, it's a rough season, man. Rough season, and now we got to deal with injuries. That's the terrible part. Because at least if they're healthy, you can say at least Barkley. You want to see if he's coming back with the burst, which we saw. We thought we were gonna have a little bit more time to evaluate him before we got to give him a new deal. Won't be able to do that, it seems. I think he'll be out at least 4 to 6 weeks. Did you see the grapefruit on his ankle?
I was about to say, did you see the close-up of his ankle? That thing blew up in no time. It blew up literally within minutes. So I'm like, maybe you should have left that thing tight. You shouldn't have taken that tape off, man. You should have, because that thing just exploded the minute you cut off the thing, man.
Look good.
It did not look good. And you know what, folks? Someday, when people do a search on Google about picking running backs in the top 10, drafting a running back in the top 10, Saquon Barkley's picture is going to come up of saying, this is why you don't draft somebody in the top 10 as a running back. Folks, that was a huge draft meeting, and to take him, and he has talent, but I can't see how they can keep making investments. This guy's injury prone, and it was a freak accident. It's not his fault, the guy and everything, but it keeps happening. And God, every time you think that maybe we're going to get him back, it's like no. And Jones was inaccurate today. And also,
Foxy,
folks,
you know what makes it worse?
I'm listening.
Go ahead. You kind of went in and out. Oh, I was going to say what makes it worse. That example you were talking about, where you're going to say don't take a running back in the top 5. We can look in the division and we can see where it worked. Even though they didn't win a championship, but at least the Cowboys are getting a lot from Elliott.
Yeah.
So,
he went through his.
It looks like Gettleman looked at their mold and tried to go the same route, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Hey, I feel terrible for them. They're missing Thomas. They're missing Slayton. They're missing Shepard. They're missing so many guys. Gates is out. They took major hits, this team, and it's like, gosh, every time that you think that they're that we can get something going with them. But you know what, folks, though, a couple of weeks ago, Quis and I were talking about the Giants game, and we made the comment that Daniel Jones scored a 2-point conversion against the Falcons, and he took on the lineman Grady Jarrett. And I made the comment, folks, I know, and I keep using the term horse, but he's a big guy, Jones. But I made the comment, folks, this is the NFL. We do not want Daniel Jones taking on players. You better slide. It's 2 weeks later, and he's doing he looked like Wilder or after Fury hit him or something like that. But it was like
that was a little scary. I was like, "Woo!"
But I also got upset.
Walking on his own way. Sit him down.
But also bothered me from a technique standpoint. If you watch that, folks, you learn from this height that if you're running at that thing, you shift the ball to your hand away from contact. If you watch that play, he was holding the ball with his right hand, and that's where the guys came in. So we're lucky he didn't fumble. He got lit up and everything, but come on, man, you cannot do that in this league. You get lit up. That's the wrong thing to do, is try to take on guys, so it aggravated me that way. And, and we were saying off the air, Tony, the guy is fantastic in space, but he headbutted a guy out of his craziness on the sidelines. Then did you see him? Like, he fixed his right. He was like setting himself up for the punch of the guy. You see him fix his wristband, and then he takes a swipe at the guy.
Because I thought he wasn't going to do anything. He stood up, he looked. He said, boop, here, one for your trouble. Don't do that again.
Yeah. So, but he was, Jones before he was inaccurate. There was balls that he, long balls, everything that it was like, come on, man, get that accuracy going. But I'm not a fan of Garrett.
Ball is just off target, and he missed a couple.
Yeah, exactly. And that Diggs, man, that guy is Mr. Interception. So, but like I said, it bothers me. And I won't even go into the Jets. Hey, folks, I've been watching football for a long time, and as like a draft maniac and everything else, I don't see a bright future for Zach Wilson. The guy has elite arm talent, but I don't understand, if you're a quarterback, especially in NFL, that means you went to a major university, which means you had great training, or at least pro training. If you're a quarterback in the NFL, I don't care if you're a rookie, and you don't have a clock in your head by now, this kid keeps holding the ball, taking sacks, throw the damn ball away, live for another down. He keep, throwing into, you don't have a long career in this league if you don't have something between the ears. Some great, Jeff George. I've seen a lot of guys in this league with great arms that went nowhere. I don't see Zach Wilson going anywhere with the stuff that I see on the field. I'm glad he could throw the ball, but damn, and it's funny. They gave an extension to Franklin Myers. I don't know if you heard his name today. I don't know if you heard on the Giants. Did you hear Leonard Williams' name today? During the game,
penalty. He ripped somebody's helmet off.
No, I know that for the wrong reason. For the wrong reason.
Oh yeah, for the wrong reasons, but for the right reason. No, I didn't hear much of Leonard.
No, but I'm like saying, oh wow, I haven't heard Lorenzo Carter all year. God, he made that great. He made that great play, but they don't capitalize. And I'm like saying that's the most important thing.
You heard his name as well.
Who?
Yeah.
Well. Plays. Yeah, but I feel for him. It's hard taking over for a tackling machine for like Blake Martinez. So,
yeah, our defense though, man, that they picked both sides of our defense apart. They went and they attacked Bradbury first, and then they went later in the second half. They went right after Adoree Jackson was able to complete a big play. I think Dak Prescott had 5 different receivers where he was able to connect on passes of 20+ yards or more. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I sent the thing to JD, our pal JD, on Twitter, saying that Bradbury has a new nickname after the last few games. His new nickname is Toast. So,
Toast.
he is not playing.
Get your little toast with some Bradbury jam.
but we're talking Matt Ryan, 0 sacks today. So we're not talking about a guy who could scamper away, who's really mobile, not a damn sack. So it was like, come on, Ojulari, you've been 3 sacks your first 3 games, get another one. There was like no pressure today. Like I said, Leonard Williams' name was not mentioned. But there was always the same McKinley missing tackles. The kid Williams, Rodarius Williams. Yo, what the hell? Yeah, but I'm saying, but what the hell were they doing leaving Cooper alone, that kid alone with Cooper? So it's like one thing after another. So Boost Mobile, I'm so sad as a Giants fan. I'm so proud of the Knicks. feel the same way,
Yeah,
Boost. What Keys opened the show with, that watching the Giants and stuff like that, and whether you're a Yankees or a Mets fan after the year that we had, even though the Yankees made it further than you just knew with their pitching, they were going to get eliminated. So whether it was the one game with Boston, even if they beat Boston, they were going to get lit up by Tampa Bay as they usually do. Folks, I didn't catch it. Who won the Tampa Bay game? I saw it go into extra innings, and I didn't see who won that. So if anybody give me an update, who won that game, I missed that. So let's see. Hey, Latrell Sprewell, the American Dream, folks. I mentioned it last week. A shout out, Latrell. Somebody you know him as Ron, really great guy. Him and his lady friend and his woman had a beautiful little girl, Alana. So shout out everyone. Please show some love to our boy Latrell Sprewell, the American Dream. Salute. He was at the Knicks game yesterday. Vibes and Foxy, all the fans. Sim says talent. Oh, good to. I haven't seen you, but again, when you have
a lot of signed basketball cards too. I saw it on Twitter.
Wow.
Yeah. We got Burks, McBride, Toppin.
Wow. So, but congratulations again, Ron, or Latrell, as everybody knows you, man. Congratulations on your new bundle of joy. A Nudie 25, our friend. How are you? A Bucks one. Thanks, Justin. No, I'm talking about not the Bucks. I knew Bucks were going to beat them. I'm talking about the baseball team, the Rays. So
baseball? Rays?
Yeah, they were tied, I think 4-4 in extra innings, Boston and them. So I didn't see who won that. I was just wondering. So Latrell or Ron, no, thank you, man. We miss you. You're such a nice, good guy, man. But don't blame you. You're with something even more important, man. The future of our world, man. The children of the future. So everybody's showing love.
Foxy, we're already in our lounge segment.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah, that's cool. As everybody knows, the lounge. Just a real quick thing, everybody.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, drop them in chat and we'll answer them.
Exactly. Drop them in the chat, but do us a favor. Please hit that thumbs up. Please hit that subscribe. And please turn on that all reminder bell so you don't miss out on any of the wonderful content Keys and Sports Vibe that he puts out for the Sports Vibe TV family. Please share the link on your favorite social media platforms. And last but not least, shout out to all the mods, Justin, Boost Mobile, and Delano, and Big Task at Hand. We appreciate all you do. So folks, talk to us.
You want to hear something funny?
Yeah, that's what I live for.
I've been watching Latrell, not watching or listening to Spree longer than I've had this channel, because he calls in to a lot of my favorite ESPN radio shows.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Hear, Ron from Maryland. I never really paid him much. He was just a regular caller. Yeah. Regular caller. And then, I started watching him when he was on streams, and I'm like, oh, he used to call to a lot of my favorite shows. So
I first
to connect the dots.
Yeah, I first met him on Freezy. Shout out to Freezy and Miss Mocha. Yeah, I first met him there, and then all of a sudden I saw people saying, "I know that guy." I heard, like you just said, he wasn't Latrell. I know him as Ron calling on show. So yeah, he's he's famous, man. Everybody knows that voice of yours, and also that wisdom. He always has good insights, and I'm not sure, but I think he likes the Knicks.
Foxy, you there? You kind of breaking up.
No, I put it on mute for a second so I could clear my throat and didn't gross out anybody. So
clear my throat.
Yeah, baby. So, folks, let us know what you want to talk about. You want to talk about Knicks? You want to talk about Giants? You want to talk about Jets? You want to talk about boxing? You want to talk about MMA? You want to talk about life? You want to talk about music?
Yesterday, Foxy.
You won't like what
crazy.
You don't want like what I'm gonna say. I like the fight, the MMA fight with Ortega and Volkanovski better. Him being an animal, Volkanovski.
I like it better too.
But just meaning, it's real hard for me. These are gigantic dudes. They're gigantic, and after 3 rounds, they're just leaning on each other for the rest of the fight. And yeah, the 4th round getting knocked down and everything, and then the 11th, and And, but it's like, especially a guy who grew up with, different fighters, being a boxing fanatic with the Sugar Rays and the Hagglers and the Hearns and the heavyweights, Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes had a gorgeous jab and stuff like that. But, whether it was Ali in his prime and Frazier and all these other guys, but these are giant, 6'9". These are giant, dude, big guys. So yeah, it was a good fight that way, but it's hard watching exhausted dudes for five, after 2 rounds, they're just exhausted. So it's like, who's gonna win out the exhaustion part of it? Annuity said, great fight.
Interesting fight though.
Yeah, no doubt. Annuity says, great fight, but I knew Wilder would get outboxed. Yeah, he has beautiful jab. Hey, boxing is about, it all starts off the jab, man. So that's funny. That kid Paul, or the Paul brothers and stuff, a lot of people, the guy knows how to throw a jab. And so whether it's knocking out Nate Robinson, I don't know which one knocks out that one, or if you got a jab and a nice jab and stuff like that, it can get you a long way. So, but these are massive dudes. Wilder was really tired. Yeah, Michael Jones, man. Yeah, Fury smart by leaning his big ass on Wilder. Will Sulkin, exactly. What, buddy?
They had Wilder put on a little bit of extra weight between, the second and the third fight, but I don't think it really benefited him. You could see.
No, I think it took away.
The first 3 rounds, he came out on fire, but after that, he started to fade.
But also techniques. So much of their punches are wide.
Oh, terrible.
You're like, it's like
Wilder more than Fury.
Yeah, absolutely. Wilder was throwing right hands and throwing these things, and I'm like saying, God, man, technique wise, they're really bad. Just meaning but you get away with it when you're massive like that. So, that is a classic. Respect, fam. 75 people in chat. Somebody did.
Hearns.
That is one of probably the greatest round in boxing history. That first round, man. And the Marvin Hagler is most people could have been taken out by Hearns, because Hearns was mad. Hearns, I always say this in boxing and other things, in football, guys that are long and lanky scare the shit out of me a lot more than muscle bound guys, man. And because of their speed. Reach and speed. Speed is everything, man. It's funny when people like, what's your favorite right hand knockout of all time? And I always say, Thomas Hearns knocking out Roberto Duran. My father taught me from a young age, when you see a boxer fall face forward, it's over, folks. And Duran could take a punch, but at that stage of his career, he was beat already. But you don't want to mess with Tommy Hearns, the hitman's right hand at that time. So, my favorite first 3 rounds in boxing history: Hagler versus Justin L. That's my guy. Yeah, I thought it was 2 rounds. I didn't know it went 3 rounds. I thought it was a 2-round fight. But that was brutalization, man. And after that first round, Hagler's bleeding like crazy from all the shots he's taken from Hearns. But you just knew from Hearns' history, man, that's the wrong dude you want to get inside. He's going to light your body up. And once the body's taken care of, he has all the time in the world to take your head off. So, Jarvis LaForte, that was a serious. Yeah. Sorry.
We've got a game coming up Wednesday, October 13th against the Pistons. What are you looking for from this team? What are some areas you want to see them improve game to game? And what are some key matchups you're looking for against the Pistons? I don't know if Cade will be available.
I was about to say, I don't know if Cade's going to be available, but what we were talking about, I think the biggest thing now is just guys playing together, especially the first team, getting to know each other better. But the biggest thing that I think jumped off the first 2 games is finishing in the paint. Missed 10 shots in the first. On the Wizards, we missed 8 shots, and against the Pacers, we missed 10 shots in the paint. And I don't mean anything. There's a reason, people, Thibs and others want you to shoot from there. There's a higher percentage you hit it from them than from 30 feet out. So they got to take better angles, or at least get fouled, get to the line. So one of the areas I just want to see continued improvement in the preseason, and then, in the regular season, is us guys finishing in the paint like that.
Yeah, you talk about if you're not getting to the paint and finishing, at least get fouled. I mean, that's something we saw Evan Fournier do. He was 6 of 6 from the free throw line in the last game, and then I think 5 of 6 in the
5 or
game
6 in
before
the
that.
game
So
before
at least
that.
so at least he's getting into the paint, creating for himself, and if not, going to the free throw line and knocking down his shot. So hopefully we'll see that throughout the rest of the squad.
Yeah, because Kemba didn't even get to the line. So against the Pacers and
then
stuff
again,
like
there
that.
were some fouls I think should have been called for him.
Yeah, for sure. That'll come. But like I said, more than anything, I just want to see Justin says he wants to see Nerlens back against Detroit. Yeah, hopefully it's the knee, whatever the knee part of him is something that they're going to be able to manage and get him through. But if it takes another game or two, I don't mind them playing Sims and Taj to get the guys back. So, but we are happy. We saw some of the footage of Mitch running, so he's making incremental. He even
commented on a Knicks Fan TV Instagram post. He told exactly how many times he did 10 sprints in like 56 seconds or some crazy number.
Yeah, man. It's basketball, man. They're just so freaking fantastically conditioned. They're doing sprints for 48 minutes, these guys. So I think they lose 10 pounds a game, these guys, of just...
Thibs is probably the only team that has people doing sprints for 48 minutes.
Yeah, word. So, well, no. Then he has after the game the sprints, and then before the game. So, yeah. Will Salkin said boxing's headed in the same direction as baseball and b-ball. Home runs, threes, and haymakers.
Haymakers.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there used to be...
And people ducking and dodging fights because the little guys they don't want to fight each other.
Yeah. Hey, our guy, Will Salkin said he wants to see the matchup of RJ and Sadiq Bey. I don't want to see that matchup. Only because Sadiq Bey is too strong.
Got the best of him last
Thank you.
Season. And regular season.
And the reason why is strength. Sadiq Bey is not a 2. Sadiq Bey is a 3, and he can almost play 4 with his strength. So that's a tough thing for RJ because he'll post up RJ. And he did, like you said, last year and stuff like that. So that'll be good to see. But we're asking RJ, that's a whole lot for RJ to take on. That's a lot. That's a tall, or a thick, strong task. So, Boost Mobile said free Grimes. Yeah, we mentioned earlier, Boost.
We talked about it, man.
Was that sweet? Just meaning not in the second one, Keith said, I don't know if it touched the net. It was so sweet. It was like, it was funny.
And it was effortless.
And that's why I said, folks, about Quickley and a few others that this is really, really good competition because Grimes is going to play defense, but from a catch and shoot standpoint, from 3-point, this kid is already NBA ready. This kid can shoot. We saw it. I know it's preseason, but it was effortless, like you said. That is like, gorgeous, man. What a beautiful stroke. So, Latrell said that Grimes in warmups made 8 in a row from 3. Yeah. These guys, you see that. Forget about, Stefan. He's an alien. I've never seen anybody have a touch or do things, bounce a ball like from half court and it goes in. He could, any shot either hand, the guy can make it. But the guys today are just crazy, man. How many they can drain in practice.
Yeah. Geraldine is saying, I'm waiting on Mitch. He's our missing piece. I have to make sure I get to it because they wrote it twice. So I know they really wanted us to mention it.
Yeah,
so
agree with you, Geraldine.
Got you, don't worry.
Yeah, we agree
Mitch
with
is
you.
Our missing piece. It's crazy. Like we're doing this without our starting and our backup center, and we're still clicking on all cylinders defensively. So,
but folks, from a development,
No, go ahead, Foxy.
But just from a development standpoint, what this is all about with young teams, with Randall being old at 26, 27. But what would happen if we're able to keep that guy healthy? He, maintains and grows his defensive excellence, but he gets a little of an offensive game. Then all of a sudden, this young core, Mitch, RJ, and Julius, and then you throw in some, the guys, the Quicks, and Obi, and everybody, Grimes, Deuce, and all these young. Wow! But if Mitch can stay healthy and just get a little offensive game. And wow, we all said it. If I still think Atlanta probably would have taken us last year in the playoffs, but it would have been, I think we would have won a lot more than one game if Mitch was there instead of Noel. The pick and roll that we got abused on with Noel in there. I don't think. I think Mitch would have done a much better job.
He'd have made it difficult for Trey and Clint to try to work that 2-man game.
Yeah, but great point, Geraldine. We're all lighting a candle and saying prayers that our guy Mitch could be there. It'll be a different team, and especially if he shows that and we lock him up and he's part of our core for a long time to come. Yeah, we got a really good young nucleus, man. Really good.
And then we got players we can actually like bond with, because Fournier is a player that he's out there. He's very social on social media. Mitchell Robinson, same with him. He's very open. He's posted his daughter. He's responding to people on IG, responding to people on Twitter. We've got very engaging players on this team. So if we can continue to at least look at players and say, all right, these are guys that are going to build, that we're going to build with and going to be with us long term, I feel like now we don't have the instances where we have a Frank Hive, where you have a group of people that were really sold on Frank being a key piece of this team, and now they're gonna have to deal with him having to go on elsewhere and perform with the Mavs to see if he'll be able to find out or reach his full potential. So the fact that if we're able to bring back Mitch, keep Mitch long term, keep RJ long term, work things out with Quick. We've already got Julius Randle solidified with this team on a 4-year deal if you include this year. I mean, we now have a core that we can say this is our foundation. We just need to bring in a piece here or there to help
We get
elevate
our
us as a whole.
like our friend Soulfinger and a few of them said, folks, if we get ourselves a 3-and-D wing, prototype 6'9", 7-foot wingspan that can drain the three and play mean Thibs D, that's the missing piece here. If we got Mitch healthy, we got RJ at 2, we got Randall, and also the next 2 years we got backcourt. But I'm really excited about Deuce and everything. I have no problem Deuce not playing for a year. Watching these guys, getting a minutes here or there. Hey, a lot of great players started that way. Watching guys before him, and he has a really nice head on his shoulders. I love listening to Deuce. Good head on his shoulders, and I think watching these guys and the guys just sharing tips with them.
Foxy, I got a question. Have you found it interesting that Deuce is usually the first one off the bench as opposed to Grimes?
Um,
Because in
no,
both games, Deuce has been the first one to get his number called.
yeah, I don't know. I just think that if you're a team or an organization, as we talked about, point guard is everything. If you have a point guard, so if you want to get a kid out there and nurture him and get him reps and stuff like that, Grimes, like we said, you keep shooting like that. I don't know if he will be the second one off the bench shooting like that, but Grimes is going to get burned. I'm telling you, if history repeats itself on a couple of turned ankles here or there, I think he's going to get in there. But I think any organization that has a kid like Deuce, that like I said last week, if you looked at Toronto, Van Vliet was undrafted. Kyle was, I think, a 27 pick. Norman Powell was a 46 pick. But the one commonality of them, they're dogs, and they built upon that. They learned the game and stuff like that. Deuce is already a dog. He has that 6'9" thing. He's somebody, I think, why the first one off, man. I see a bright future for him. Also you saw him I think yesterday before the game. You saw him practicing his handles because he knows the reason why he was picked 36 because he doesn't have that elite athleticism, that bounce and everything. But if he got great handles, that's going to help him with his separation and stuff like that. So,
yep. Foxy,
yes.
You mentioned that we've got dogs on this team, and I think that kind of brings us back to that point you mentioned earlier with Thibs. Do you really think Thibs will be able to wear out his welcome here with the players when we got reports that all of these guys like being in the gym, they like putting in the work? So I think maybe that might be a reason that these players kind of gravitate to Tom Thibodeau, knowing because Quickley was interviewed and he said he's going to put shots up, and Tom Thibodeau was in his office, putting in the same amount of work that the guys are putting in out there on the court. So I think that might be a area where these players and our coach kind of bond.
Yeah, well, I think old school coaches that bark a lot, players don't mind it on the short term, especially if they win. But I think what turns around is when they don't win and somebody's barking at them nonstop, it gets tiring. So, the article that I brought up by Haley O'Shaughnessy from The Ringer, the stages of Thibs, it rang true. So, he wears out his welcome. And it's just that the players get exhausted. And like I said, guys, if you're coming off a West Coast trip and then, like last year, he came off a West Coast trip and they practice. There were a couple of games last year, and being a student of the game, when you see balls clanking off the front of the rim, that means their legs are not into it, and legs are everything in shooting. They were tired. So that's why I was hoping Johnny Bryant, Kenny Payne, somebody would say, I know you're the head coach, but coach, the guys need a day off. They're tired. And he's tyrannical that way. And I know he wants to win, but the cost of winning, you can't burn out the guys. And like I said, terrible track record in Chicago and Minnesota. I'm telling the weirdest part is you have Taj. So if you see stuff, you're like saying, wow, what a love affair between Rose and Thibs. What a love affair between Taj and Thibs. Folks, you read that article, there wasn't a love affair 5 years ago between them. They respect him, but at the same time, they had to intervene and go to the front office to intervene with Thibs that you're working us too hard. And I think, after watching the last 2 minutes of yesterday's game, I don't think he's learned his lesson. So I don't want to see it happen, but I will not be shocked if players have to say to him, hey, man, Tom, we love you. You're a defensive genius and everything. You got to chill, bro. You're killing us. You're killing us. You saw we had nothing left in the tank, and that wasn't on us. We're really well conditioned. That was on you. Be cool, man. So, like I said to you a couple of weeks ago, folks, you heard me. I saw Coach of the Year, Dwayne Casey, who I think is a fantastic coach, get canned after winning Coach of the Year. Anything could happen. It's a game about winning, and it's a game about keeping your players happy. Nobody's happy when you're exhausted.
I hope Tom has the phone number to another coach, Tom, the last Tom to win a championship for New York, and that'll be Tom Coughlin, because Tom Coughlin had a lot of the same issues.
Old school
coach, but at least for him, he was able to, look at the landscape of the league and say, hey, I got to change things up. And he started up that leadership council. And once he did that, the Giants pretty much took off that 2007 year when we won the chip, and then again in 2011. So hopefully Tom Thibodeau can take something from Coughlin's playbook. And it seems like the players, he has that soft side where he has that caring side. Let's just hope he's able to take it back a little bit and dial it down and look big picture as opposed to minute out there on the court. Like, yes, we want to win every minute, but you don't want to sacrifice and push this team too hard to try to win in that minute and sacrifice what you're going to do for the remaining portion of the season.
It's about the playoffs. I'm glad he loves the regular season, and we all do. But if the difference is a 7th seed and the guys are fresh and a 4th seed and the guys are exhausted, I'll take the 7th seed. I will definitely take that if the guys are fresh. So, hey, by the way, didn't Coughlin pull the same routine once he left the Giants in Jacksonville and wore out his welcome?
He was president at that point. He wasn't coach. I don't know what he was doing in Jacksonville. He was bugging out, they said.
But you know what? The game's changed. I don't think Parcells and a lot of the coaches that we loved, whether they can get away with that crap today. The kids don't want to put up with that. They're divas. So you see guys like Tony, he's not even in the league, and he's already getting upset with the coach and having tantrums and all this other stuff. And, it's a different game, and it's different, all the games. Justin said, I think IQ said, when I come in at 9 p.m. for more shots, Thibs is always in his office and he waves to me. I love seeing him there. Yep. Hey, yeah, because you're getting, that's FaceTime. All of us in the business world, I think I'm going to hang out because the big boss is watching. I want the big boss to know how hard I'm working. So that's FaceTime, as we used to call it in the business world. So him and Obi are getting that FaceTime. So, but believe me, if he don't hit 3-pointers, he don't give a shit. He sees you at 9 o'clock. If you ain't hit the 3-pointers, IQ, so that'll be short lived with him. He'll like you off the court, but boy, if you ain't delivering on the court, you're yesterday's news. Hey, Justin, I think saying Thibs needs a major pain moment. He's the coolest. Yeah, really, man. That's well said. A major pain moment. That's a great movie. So, tonight I'll be watching after the show tonight, folks, the season finale of Heels, my wrestling soap opera show that I've been enjoying on Stars this year. So tonight's the season finale. We'll see what'll happen with the Spade brothers. So Ace of Spades and Jack Spade.
Foxy, do you think Tom will be coach of the Knicks for at least the next 5 years?
No.
I really want him to be the guy that I knew you were going to say. I really want him to be the guy that leads us to the chip. I want to help Tom like he helped us.
I'd love it, but statistically, trend analysis, not isolated. Thibs is who he is. So I don't know whether 5 years will be 68 years old, and I know we've seen pops at San Antonio and stuff like that, but he's up there,
about
man.
To be out of here on his own.
No, I know. You're right. So he'll be already 68 by that time. Ron. So I don't know, and I don't think they're. I think they'll be better this year, but I don't see them in championship. I love my Knicks, but things have to. It has to be like a miracle year, like the Mets won. Do you believe type of thing for the Knicks to go that far? Everything has to go right, but there's just being. The reality is there's just so many talented teams, especially in the Eastern Conference, that just have a better roster. I don't mean anything. I love my RJ. I love my Randall. I love the guys on this team, but there's teams with better rosters, man. And elite talent wins.
Yeah, I don't see Thibs sticking around for the next 5 years, because then that would mean we'd have to re-sign him. And I don't see the Knicks with Thibs having the same nucleus and not being able to pass that threshold and become NBA champions. I don't see them re-upping for another 3, 4, or 5 years with Thibs if we're not able to do it during his first stint. They're gonna look for some new blood to see if they can squeeze out a little bit more from our core set of players.
Yeah, maybe it's going to be Johnny. I saw Johnny talking to RJ and a few of the guys yesterday. So, and like we've talked about,
you and JD, the Johnny Bryant bandwagon.
Well, he was he did a lot for Donovan. He knows the game. He knows especially the point guard position, the point guard whisperer. But hey, the game's like we were just saying, whether it's football, the game's changing. You need a different, the youth and stuff like that. Nothing wrong. I like Johnny Bryant. So
the game's changing, and Thibs is changing a little bit too. The offense he's got employed now, it's like, where did this come from? It's like you give Thibs some talent and he starts doing some crazy things.
No doubt. And he has changed.
Good out there schematically.
He has a whole analytics, now he's really into the analytics part of it. Dolan's really cool, went to his pocket and got some guys from MIT and a few other places running all these advanced analytics. Again, it's all about tendencies and trends and all that other stuff. So it's just game management. And like I said, he has a 25-36 playoff career record. He hasn't shown that he's good at making adjustments, especially in the playoffs. So he has something no different than the players to build upon. If I was him, he's going to be known as one of the best defensive coaches, in the last 20 years. You saw what he did with the Celtics. He's got a great mind, but, it's like Buddy Ryan. He was a great defensive mind, but they couldn't win the championship. You gotta see, gotta go to the next level, man.
Yeah. And I think it's funny watching watching Thibodeau's offense too, because Knicks fans aren't too fond of the triangle, but Thibs is out there running triangle principles.
He is
the entire game for the most part. So the triangle does work. It's just what aspects or what principles are you going to employ in your offense that's still going to work in a modern NBA?
Yeah, the thing that I'm excited about is with the players that we have, the addition of Kemba and Fournier is less ISO ball with Randall. Kick it into Randall, let him try to make a shot, and if he doesn't, throw the ball out with 4 seconds left on the shot clock. And people are like, boy, we didn't shoot well. Well, the guys were rushing shots because they got the ball late in the shot clock. So I'm really looking forward to Randall not playing so much ISO ball and him having that contract. I don't think he'll mind it either. You know, as we talked about, I think he'll do whatever best for the team.
Yeah, we got better options if you want to go ISO as well. I'd rather Kimba or Fournier or even maybe RJ operate a little bit more if we want them to go ISO as opposed to it just being Julius Randle.
Yeah, like you said, Kemba, man. RJ, you know, what you were said, you know, the question about that Latrell brought up about 5 years, that's the thing about this. I see RJ becoming better and better, but even there, I don't know if he will ever become a superstar. I don't see him ever. I'll be definitive in that comment. I don't ever see him becoming a definitive superstar. I see him being a star, but the difference between a star and a superstar is somebody who could take a team on his back. And we talked last week, you know, Canada and the Olympics. You know, we saw, you know, Luka take the Slovakian team on his back. RJ hasn't shown that he could take a team on his back, and that's part of his growth. But that's championship teams, the LeBrons, you know, the teams like that, Giannis, where one person can literally say, fellas, you know, get on me, man. I'm going to take us to the thing. And Julius can't do it. RJ can't do it. They're great. And like we said, they're very good 2 and 3 options. But I don't know if RJ will ever, and again, it's part of his handle, part of him creating his own shot. Like you said, we saw him already, you know, miss 7 shots in 2 preseason games in the paint. And that's one of the areas we want to grow. And those are gimmies to me, man. He's taking the wrong angles. Well, like you said, he's not getting to the foul line, at least get fouled. So we're one piece, whether it's free agency, a giant trade, we're one piece or 2 pieces away from us really being a championship team. I you know, I love our guys, but if Boston, if Brooklyn's healthy, Milwaukee's healthy, I just can't see how we can get past them. And other teams I won't even mention.
Yeah, you just mentioned a few teams in the East. You didn't even get into the West.
Oh, forget about the West. I'm still staying in the East. You know, you got teams like Charlotte. You know, I was watching.
The Bulls have been looking good in preseason. Everybody's looking at me saying, "Hey, Quis, you're bugging. The Bulls aren't going to be anything to worry about." But they're competing for the preseason championship like us. They're 3-0, and what are we, 2-0?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But like I said, when you look at, you know, their center position, Vucevic, you look at Zach, they got DeRozan, you got Ball, you know, Caruso is a type of player that we saw in the Lakers. If you have good players around him, he's a good, you know, glue piece. You know, he's like a Rambus. You know, there's always one guy on a team that he's not going to he's going to be a smart player. He's going to do all the things. And, you know, so yeah, but, you know, Charlotte, you know, Charlotte has some young players there. LaMelo special.
Book Knight's been looking pretty good too. Book Knight caught a body the other night. It was effortless. It's like he did a light jog into the paint, and then out of nowhere he exploded for a tomahawk slam.
Yeah,
so where did that come from?
Yeah, my nephew graduated a number of years ago from Providence, so he is a fanatic Providence University. You know, watching Providence. So last year he said to me, "Hey, I know you like this kid James Bouknight, but you know I have a kid David Dukes on my team here at Providence and everything." And I went, And he called me that night after they played. Bouknight put a putback on a putback dunk in the game, and like you just said, it was one of the reasons, you know, in early talks on the different shows with Iran and other shows that I was saying, the kid Bouknight, the one thing I want for the Knicks is athleticism. I have one player that has explosion. Speed kills. We saw the disruptive force of Trey, and we don't have one guy that really has, oh my God, that's, you know, Fox on Sacramento or somebody who's like that. Bouknight has crazy athleticism. So you have a LaMelo Ball who has LaMelo's game is from God. The past, those are things that you can't teach. That's, we talk about CP3. There's certain things, especially at that position. He's just magnificent. Just wow. Just intuitive, his game. So Haywood, if he can stay healthy, and Scary Terry, and there's a lot of guys. So like I said, there's a lot of really good teams, man. And like he said, I was just thinking East. I'm not even getting out West.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if we're able to make it to the finals this season, boy, would that be something? I'm going to every finals game. I don't know what I'm gonna have to break the piggy bank. I'm gonna have to walk up and down the streets of the Bronx to find some pennies and some nickels to put together and get in there. But I gotta go.
Hey, I'm Jewish. Don't bring up the pennies. I'll go crazy. If I see a penny, I'll get crazy. You
gotta see me when I'm out with my supervisor, man. That guy's got he's like metal detector for eyes. He sees every penny on the floor, and I'm like, God bless you.
Yeah. So it's crazy, man. I've had some friends like that. So it's like, oh, but you know what? A penny in my pocket's better than a penny on the floor. Justin L, we can keep that Yep. We can keep that Chauncey Detroit chip on our minds. We aren't going to compete with the best superstars that carry us. We need to rely on fitting pieces together in the next couple of years and run our team concepts. Justin, I agree with you. And there's one other thing to add in there, and I've mentioned this before. I'm old school. If your team does not have the elite athleticism as other teams, you got to be physical. They're not going to allow us to be Oakley. They're not going to allow us to be Mason, or not allow us to be the bad boys of Detroit anymore, Lambeer and Mahorn and all those other guys. But I wouldn't mind a little underneath it. You got 6 fouls, make sure they count. So I would love us to be really, really physical. That one way to get into the heads of players like Trey and everything is giving them black and blues. They go around screens, who was it yesterday? It was Obi. Obi had a brutal screen on somebody in the game yesterday. It was like, yeah, that's it. Lay out some physical things. Yep. Thank you, Justin. Preach. We got to be physical. If you don't have
that Pistons series gives me bad memories. You know me, I'm a Kobe fan, and I really wasn't expecting us to lose to the Wallace brothers, Chauncey and Rip. That was a sad moment in my Kobe Bryant fandom.
Yeah, but that's a later team. But if you watch the Detroit and everything, they wrote the book that, hey, we're acknowledging what we do, our talent level. But if we can get somebody out of their game and with our physicality, beat them up, they come into the paint and know that, I don't care. Call a flagrant foul. I'll still be in the game, Yeah,
I got one more of those before I got to hit the
exactly. So those guys, it was on their minds. So that's me, Penny Ben. Let's see. I've been saying this all summer that New York should be look at Lance Stevenson because every great team needs a disruptor to take on the opponent's best player. I don't know how much Lance has.
I mean, we don't need Lance over here blowing in people's ears.
You're the coolest.
That's the kind of disruption we need. I don't know if he still got it to play defense. He's been out the league at least a year, if not 2.
Yeah, I know, and it's not a friendly thing. D Public Enemy says, did the Frank fans see him play? I did not. I heard that that
somebody said he was looking good.
Yeah, Porzingis played well, and I heard that. But hey, how many opportunities? The issue with Frank is on Frank, man. He had so many opportunities, pulled a groin, groin injury, ankle injury, groin injury. The guy can't stay healthy, So as always, a shout out during our shows to our boy Ron Cleveland, but I always love Ron said best ability is availability, and Frank never showed that. So, but
best of luck to him.
Yeah, Frank is best of luck. I think he'll be a good bench player. He'll never be a starter in this league.
Starter?
Yeah, he'll never be a starter
unless he gets a little bit more creative off the dribble.
Yeah, I don't. If he didn't show, Meaning, I'm old school. If he hasn't shown it by now, why the hell is he going? All of a sudden, where the hell is he going to come from? So,
Hmm.
it's about systems and stuff like that. But that's like the New York Knicks, that team over there: Trey Burks, Frank Ntilikina, Porzingis, Bullock, Hardaway. It's hysterical. Yeah, best wishes to
If
Frank.
they win over there, people can't really come at the Knicks front office like that because that's basically the team the Knicks tried to put together.
Yeah. So, but it's the same thing. Porzingis. I'm glad he's a unicorn, but he's a unicorn that's always injured. So,
No, he is a unicorn. You never see him.
word. That was poetic, man.
I thought that
Yeah.
one up on the spot too. Thank you.
Yeah, we're no longer in the last stop in the league. First last. Yep, absolutely. First last, as I always say to everyone, anyone who's new, please give us a thumbs up so we can give you a proper shout out. And folks, at this moment, we have 95 likes. We have 99 in the chat. But folks, we always like to hit that 100 metric. So do me a favor, please hit that thumbs up. That's my guy. So show that, hit that subscribe. Please turn on that all notification bell so you don't miss out any of the wonderful content my guy Quis puts out. Please share the link on your favorite social media platforms. And again, shout out to the best mods on the planet for all you do. We appreciate that we're able to focus on doing a broadcast. You can take care. It looks like it's been a nice quiet night, not like a few weeks ago that we had a couple of
Hey, don't
trolls.
jinx it.
I know I should have shut up, but you know what? I'm not jinxing it because we got our brothers there. So Lex and
To hold it
Canal
down.
and Justin, they hold us down. So we got, we got our bad boys. So I ain't worried about them. So
Foxy,
Bills are
I'm
destroying the
looking at
Chiefs. Wow.
yeah. I'm looking at this Frank Ntilikina box score. I really don't see
Yeah.
anything special. I gotta watch the game to really see what his impact was. But
You know what was
five personal
special?
fouls,
He didn't get
one
injured.
of four from the field. Oh yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, he was 1 of 4 from the field. He had what 5 points or 6 points. I don't see anything special. He was
he
plus 11, plus minus. I got to give him that
That's a
much.
misleading.
He
That's
yeah,
everybody
second
that's
behind between Hardaway.
yeah, but plus minus, it's a team thing, and people use it to their benefit. He was a plus 20 or he was a minus 20. It's not one of my favorite stats, plus minus, but it's funny. Duras says, "Once a franker, always a franker." Because I've said to people, "Don't you think?" I'm like, he averaged 3 assists as in his career. Frank, that's not a point guard. Point guards don't average 3 assists per year. That's not true. A second or a third team of point guard does. He's not. He's not. Foxy on a break. Yeah, Bills 31-13 starting the fourth. Yo,
They're just
yeah.
now getting into the fourth at 12 o'clock. What's going on?
I don't know. Must have been a good
Was there a
halftime show.
postponement?
I don't know. So
That's weird. 12 o'clock and the game's still on because the game starts at 8:20. It's usually off by 11:10, 11:20.
yeah, D Public Enemy. I like that kid Jordan Orr. Yeah, the kid can shoot. I really like him also. I think he went to Louisville. Correct me if I'm wrong. If Knox not playing good this season, the Knicks need to trade for him. Yeah, I think he definitely has a beautiful stroke. The Public Enemy, absolutely. Juju 92. Yo, there was a delay at halftime. That's why lightning delay. That's why the game's going on so long.
They delayed another game. I don't know if it was the Thursday game. There've been a couple of delays.
Yeah, what
I
game?
had to put a bet in.
Yeah, or I
And the
turned
game was
on
delayed,
a
so I had
game the
extra
other
time.
night that was delayed. I'm trying to think which game was that. Getting
I think it
old.
might
I
have been the
freaking
Thursday game.
was it? Yeah, I think it was the
Yeah.
Thursday game. Yeah, Allah Wise. I call him my field producer. Salute, salute, salute. Hope all is well, Allah. So yeah, lightning. Let's see. Yeah, everyone's saying it was a rainstorm and everything. Yeah, that's scary with that stuff like that. Yeah,
lightning always
Charges.
scares me.
Yeah, the Charges. That kid Herbert, that quarterback on the Chargers, he throws one of the prettiest balls in the NFL now. He throws a beautiful ball, man, and he's a big boy too.
The way KJ explained this is funny because he said he posted in bursts. So I'm reading it, trying to understand, and I'm like, Chargers game versus Raiders. But that made no sense. They play in the dome. So I'm guessing they postponed the Chargers versus Raiders game due to the similar conditions. But they play in the dome. So why didn't just close the dome up?
I
NFL
thought the
makes some funny
Raiders played
decisions.
somebody else today. I didn't think they played the Chargers. I thought they played somebody else, but I may be wrong.
If it was the postponement, it was a few weeks before. It wasn't
Yeah,
recent, like a week or two before.
yeah. Nixon says Tom Brady never gets old. Yeah, that's what I brought up earlier about Zach Wilson. Brady's about, I think, what is he, 123 now or 122, something like that. But he has such smarts that, you know, as long as that guy can stay healthy. Also, I saw him a couple plays today. He looked like he could have gotten a pedicure, man. He had so much time. He was out there. He was like looking around. It's not like our teams where the guys are running for their life and stuff, but he's just so smart. So when you see somebody like that, in his brain, he can look at a defense in 1 second and say, this is where the ball goes. And then you see, Zach Wilson, and you're like, he'll never, ever be 1/4. You could already see he'll never, ever have the smarts of a Brady or a Drew Brees. He's a gunslinger. Where's Davis, Corey Davis, and I'll throw the ball. I don't care if there's five guys around. I'm still going to throw it over there.
Yeah, go get it.
Go get it. So,
Foxy, you want to talk Nets a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Where is the comment? Somebody, Canal brought it up, saying Nash said he expects Irving to play. He doesn't expect Irving to play home games. Foxy, it's going to be so interesting in the playoff game if the Nets have home court advantage and you don't see Kyrie in the game 7.
You know what?
That'll be crazy.
I would not be surprised if that's going to be the
Season
thing.
long.
That it won't be a season long, but that they'll trade him. That they'll trade him to
he's already threatening to not play.
Retire.
There's two sources. Yeah, Nick Wright said it, and I can't remember who the second source is. So
just meaning,
it would have been
folks,
perfect for them to ship him over to Philly and get Ben Simmons back in, because then you've got like George from Into the Knicks first says the Nets. He doesn't believe the Nets are going to go far unless they get an elite defender. So if they were able to swap Kyrie for a Ben Simmons, then I think that really allows them to have that player where they can put on the opposing team's best primary, the opposing team's best wing scorer or playmaker, and then you'd still have the offensive firepower in both KD and James Harden, and Ben can contribute every now and again when he decides to shoot. So that would have been a match made in heaven, but it seems like Kyrie is really going to dig his feet in and say, hey, you move me, I'm going to quit on basketball completely. And if you don't move me, I'm just going to quit on the home games.
Yeah, he is such an aggravating guy his whole career. Whether, like I said a few weeks ago, is like you have Jaylen Brown, you have Jason Tatum, and you left that young nucleus. He's not somebody you want around he's not a cool dude. He's not a good guy, man. Hey, I respect if you don't want to get a vaccination, that's fine, but this is the game that you selected. You got to, sometimes in life, you got to do things, but if you don't want to get vaxxed, then you're putting other people in situations where they could possibly get sick. And, I don't know, man. Kyrie is a real complex dude. I don't know where, from Cleveland to Boston to the Nets now, and he'll be at another team. But, even if he's not, the whole thing is when it's not a question of when is Kyrie going to go down? It happened at Duke. It's happened his whole career. He's never had long stretches in his career where he's ever been able to stay healthy. But when he is healthy, everybody's like on the edge of their seat, like the guy's unstoppable. When he wants a hoop, he gets it.
He's different.
Best handle I've ever seen. He can shoot. He's just so gifted, and that's why he's so aggravating to be that gifted and to be such a pain in the ass. Why couldn't you just go with it? You could have had a few more championships with LeBron. You could have had, and I knew LeBron wanted to go out to LA, but you could have still probably had 1 or 2 more championships, in Boston and everything. He's just a real difficult dude, man. There's always guys like that in the league, in every sport, that you're like, they're so gifted, but they're their biggest enemy, man. They're just not a team player.
I don't understand why he's also saying don't trade me either. It's not like the Nets. It's not up to the Nets whether you can play or not. That's based on what New York City decides to say.
I
So
was about to
if
say,
the
so
Nets
trade him
say,
to a different market where he can play home
yeah,
games, but he don't want to do
exactly,
that. So you can't have it your
it makes
way.
no
And
sense.
yeah, the easy thing is just make a donation to De Blasio. He'll change the law for you. So all of these damn corrupt politicians. So
It's crazy. I just don't. My biggest issue. I don't care if he wants to get vaxxed or not. That's his own personal decision. But at least if you're not going to be able to play in half the games, don't sit there and say, "Okay, fine me. I'll kick my feet up and chill." At least move on. Go somewhere else where you'll be able to use your talents. Don't cut your career basically in half. You're going to cut your production in half because you're only going
you
to be
don't
available for
care.
41. Yeah.
You don't. I mean, he's rich beyond means. He's just so rich. He doesn't care, and that's one of the things that bother you. Is like I love players who care. They care about their team. They care about their fans. That's why I love Julius. If Kyrie had Julius's attitude, uh, he'd be at a whole nother level. And I mean, it's hard to think that he could be at another level, but also, so as crazy as it sounds, just having KD and if Harden stays healthy, that's a scary team with just those two dudes, even without
Hmm.
Kyrie. So,
And you've seen Cam Thomas out there. He's out there putting up buckets. They've got a little bit of depth out there.
Cam, they had a wonderful offseason. A wonderful
Hmm.
offseason. Cam Thomas is a walking bucket. He is
Yeah.
unstoppable. Folks, what he did at LSU, only guys, like I said, KD in his freshman year, only elite players did what he did. And yeah, he didn't pass. Literally, he did not pass. Literally did not play defense. Literally. There were plays he
Yeah, one job
literally,
and one job only.
yeah, but and his shot selection, you're like saying there's six guys on you, and he still put the shot up. But he's not going to do that shit on the Nets, and he's very gifted offensively. I mean, unstoppable type of gifted, where he's going to put up points. There's just not a damn thing you're going to do about it.
Unless you're the Knicks and we got Tom Thibodeau and we got some players like RJ. Put them on him, RJ. You're gonna be a two-way star. Shut him down.
Yep, he's going to shut him down. But like I said to you, I hope what's it going to take out of RJ. That takes a whole lot. Like I said, what I liked yesterday, I think he scored 17 yesterday. RJ,
18,
that
I believe.
that put that on. Put that on, take it from them, but get them exhausted on the other end. Get them in foul trouble. Put the numbers on them. Put your physicality on them. So, go back and forth. So, but being an all around player takes a whole lot of energy, man. So
I like what KJ said. He's saying we here and we being the key. Yeah, we got the big 15. Well, we got the big 20 in camp.
exactly. Let's bring on the G
Send
League
five
while
of
we're
them to
at.
the G League or something, right?
Yeah. First the RJ had 4 or 5 possessions in a row going to the rim. Yeah, Irving suffers from a mental bug where the earth is flat. Peace and lies. Yeah, either that or he's having issues
he's,
with
he's an interesting guy, man. He's an interesting guy.
Uncle Drew. Yeah. So,
What you call it? Ricky Stewart is saying Knicks run New York. I mean, that's without having to say. We already know the Knicks run New York.
yeah.
Everybody in New York bleeds orange and blue. If you're a Nets
Hey,
fan from New York, I don't know. God bless
orange
you.
and blue for basketball, just not orange and blue for baseball.
Yes, we bleed orange and blue for baseball too. Let's go
No, I'm a
Mets,
Bronx boy.
baby.
I'm a Bronx boy. It's in
So
my
am I. And
DNA.
they got my Cardinals
Yankees,
too.
Yankees, Yankees.
Oh man, I'm not a fan of the Yankees. I'm glad the Red Sox got them out of here.
Yeah, well, I was glad because it put him out of misery. Like I said to Major League Baseball, come on, we're the Yankees. Cole's not the same pitcher without foreign substances and cheating. Could you look the other way for the one game where him and a couple other pitchers, man, you take away that foreign substance, they're not getting the revolutions per second on their baseballs. They're totally different players.
That late movement,
And we don't have
especially with Cole
anybody
with that late
else.
movement in the fastball.
Yeah. And, it was a blessing in disguise because I watched 2 postseasons in a row where Chapman gave up, lost the game, gave up big hits and the season's over.
That blank look on his face, that little fake
Yeah,
smile
exactly. So I was saying to my nephew that, he was a huge Yankees fan, that I was saying, Patrick, if the Yankees get there, Chapman's going to break your freaking heart again. So maybe it's good that we made this short. But Lozinga and a few of the other guys, we got to get rid of Sanchez, get rid of Voit, get rid of Gardner, get rid of so many guys, get rid of Hicks. There's got to do a complete overhaul on this team. God willing, Judge can stay healthy. Stanton, when he's healthy, is an animal. I don't know anybody hits a baseball harder than Stanton when he's on the ball. But Torres had a really off year. I thought he was going to be something special, and he had a really, really off year. And DJ had a really, really off year. So
the season hurt too.
But meaning, so they had all these guys with off years, and they still won, 90 games or so, which is pretty darn impressive, and no pitching staff. A couple guys, Kluber and Talion, two Tommy John surgeries already held together by duct tape, and I don't know what the hell. This is Severino and a couple of the other guys is just ugh.
Wise is saying he's gonna get Kaepernick. See, I don't think he's gonna get Kaepernick because you got to remember Kyrie's part of the union. He's got a lot more power than Cap had when players in general have a lot more power in the NBA than the NFL. And then you're talking about Kyrie. Somehow he got onto the leadership in the NFL. I mean, the NFL in the NBA PA. So I don't see them getting rid of Kyrie like that. And you're already hearing Michelle Roberts, who's the lead, I guess, counsel for the NBA PA, saying that they're going to fight to make sure that the teams can't withhold paychecks for players that don't play due to the vaccine mandate. So we'll see. It'll be interesting.
Hey, a quick shout out to the NBA Players Association. Being a New York boy, I really appreciate the monies they put out for Rucker. To redo Rucker Park, where all the basketball legends. I think Julius was there for the opening, but that was really cool for them to refurbish that court. Bring it back to life. Really, they're making all this money, and I'm glad they're putting it back to one of the iconic places of basketball. Kaiser
also, shout out to Kemba. He did the same thing. He came over to Soundview and hooked up the basketball court. So shout out to Kemba. You don't want to see what Kemba did for the community, you can just head over to Soundview, right there over on like Randall Avenue or something. Randall and Gleason or something like that.
Yeah, Randall Avenue here, 2125 Randall Avenue. Yeah. That's where my building in the Castle Hill projects, 2125 Randall Avenue.
Rosedale and Gleason, I believe. Rosedale and Gleason, my bad.
Yeah, Kaiser Soze, one of the great guys.
Not too far, though, right up the block.
Yeah. Well, you had the community center there. You had the boxing right across the street from Castle Hill Avenue, boxing club.
Bay, not too far. I used to have the little cadet card. Good times. Yeah. Good times. I missed Thibs Bay.
Yeah, jump on the thing, go over to Parkchester and go over to Pelham Parkway and all the places, man. So
good times.
Yeah. What do you expect from a flat earther? Yeah. It's a shame to have that amount of talent and have people, I don't know, man. It's a shame. Big Nat, love you guys. Knicks for life.
5 games, he'll probably get vaccinated. He's not losing money. I mean, I know I would. I'm not trying to lose that type of money, but you never know. He might have good investments.
Yeah.
He might be able to say,
Yeah, you see these guys, whether Ben Simmons or anything, after a while, they're like, oh, shoot, man, I just lost a Ferrari. I just lost a Bentley. That's $300,000, man. One thing is 10 grand, 15 grand, where they get the fines and they're laughing at that. Once you start getting 6 figures, man, that's serious change, man. And also, statistically, I think it was like 78% of NBA players declare bankruptcy 5 years after they retire.
What's the percentage?
Almost.
Did you see all of the players that were scamming?
No, talk to me.
Oh, there's like a laundry list of scammers out there. Oh man, Tony Allen's on the list. Big baby Davis is on the list. They're just robbing the medical fund for the NBA.
Oh wow,
What?
no, I did
With
not
like
hear
18
that.
players. Yeah, yeah. Some big names too. Shannon Brown. Basically half of the big three for the most part. If you've been participating in the big three, you got indicted. Let me see.
Wow.
18 NBA players indicted. It completely slipped my mind.
Otherwise, money ain't nothing if you can't own your own body. Yep. Or parts of your body. And then Cam gets to learn from KD, Kyrie. They don't move him. They got Cam and Harden. Season 2, you'll see. Cam has special offensive skills. I agree with you, Big Nat Nat. It's just if he can learn to play defense and learn to play pass the ball, that's a whole lot for his maturity. But you can't teach what he does offensively. Cam gets to learn from KD, Kyrie if they don't move him. And Harden. Yeah, he has wonderful guys to learn from. I just don't know whether those guys are types of guys that you learn from.
Yeah, Foxy, I don't know if you can see me. Oh, what I do pace? Let me see if I can zoom it in
Yeah, I'm a blind
so
old
you guys
dude.
can see.
In fact,
Yeah, I'm blind too.
I go to the eye doctor,
There
I
we
think
go.
Tuesday this week.
So I'll read it to you. It says
Please.
18 former NBA players have been indicted and accused of defrauding the league's health and benefits plan for nearly $4 million, federal prosecutors announced Thursday. The former players were charged with conspiracy to commit healthcare and wire fraud. The scheme lasted from about 2017 through 2020, when the former players allegedly submitted false and fraudulent claims for reimbursement for medical and dental services that were never rendered, according to the indictment. Terrence Williams, a former New Jersey Nets player,
Yeah.
allegedly orchestrated the scheme and recruited other former players by supplying them fake invoices to support the fraudulent claims, federal prosecutors said. The indictment alleges that Williams was paid more than $230,000 in kickbacks for the fake invoices. I want to see the list of the players. Show me the players.
Yo.
It's a
It
bunch of
breaks your
them.
it breaks your heart that's chump change. Meaning when you're making millions of dollars for years, that what the
But did
what
you keep millions of dollars for years? That's the
nah
big question.
nah, a lot of them they just get stupid, man. I always want to hear if I was a GM, whether football or basketball, the first thing I'd ask is, what are you going to do with your first check? If somebody says, I'm going to buy
They've got
cars,
a whole YouTube channel for that.
it's
They
like
ask all. I don't know if it's
later,
three, two
man.
or
I don't know
four.
if I want to draft you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's sad, man. That's sad that you can make that amount of money and now you're still ripping off something.
Yeah, you're ripping off the NBA PA. Their pension is probably gone. Their pension, healthcare.
I
Imagine
hope.
messing that bag up. I
Not
don't know
only
what the
that,
pension is like, but
the pension's
it gotta be
I think it's
decent.
$26,000 for every year you played in the NBA, and I think it's maxed at
Like what, 250?
I don't know, but these guys are still going to be making six figures once they not when they retire, but once they reach retirement age. So that's the problem is that they're 5
They don't
years
get
after.
there.
5 years after, they're still a young man and they still got 20 years to go or 30 years to go before they're 65. So that's why they got to do stupid shit. So
Well, look at Allen Iverson. I think Allen Iverson was kind of smart. He put like a trust that he couldn't touch the money, and it wasn't supposed to disperse until he was like 40 or 45. I forgot the exact age.
yeah, the Bobby Bonilla stuff. Just give me $1 million a
Don't
year
bring it up.
for 100
Don't
years.
bring it up. You're still paying him. Still paying that
Yeah.
guy. Oh
Yeah.
man, it's ridiculous. But Big Baby Davis has been getting himself into trouble since he's retired. They were also looking at him for like selling drugs. He was in the drug game.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's what the thing that bothers me for multiple reasons. One is with college today, the one and done is that the kids are not coming into league better basketball players because they haven't been refined yet. So they got to learn the game once they're in the in the NBA. But what all bothers me more than that, and you heard me, I think, say it a week or so ago, one of the greats was at the McDonald's All-American, the high school All-American team, and they said to the kids, you have a greater chance of getting hit by lightning than having a career in the NBA. Kids, get your education. But all these kids like, that ain't going to be me, man. I'm going to take it over. And we've seen so many guys from college like, whoa, he's good, gets to the NBA. And, like, wow, $1 million, made a couple of $1 million. Folks, a couple of $1 million, it's not going to last you very long when you're 23 years old and out of the game and you got 42 years to go before retirement. A couple of million ain't going to do shit for you for 40 years.
Especially when inflation's at 7% through the pandemic, right? Inflation's at some crazy number right now.
Yeah, gas is the highest since 2014. Yeah, I think everyone's $175. But that's what happens when it doesn't make a difference. I hate politics. I hate politicians. I hate Republicans. I hate Democrats. I hate independents. I hate politics. Foxy, political don't work for me. I agree with you, man. I hate politics. I don't vote anymore. I don't do any of that shit because I don't trust these son of a bitches. They're all crooks. So equal opportunity crooks.
Big babies are praying for Popeyes right now. It's crazy. After the drug charge, he pulled up in like a private jet. He's talking about with money in a briefcase about I'm good. We all good on this side, blah, blah, blah. But you scam in the NBA PA. I'm telling you, man, a lot of people do things for fronts, even as a front, even famous folk like basketball players. It's all a front sometimes.
Well, a lot of times it's a front for organized crime. So they catch this guy, organized crime has the schemes, and they just got to get the front guy for them. So they, like you said, give them a couple $100,000 and they'll get the 3.5 million. They stole 4 million. So the organized crime gets the 3.5 million and they just give the couple $100,000 to the guy. Otherwise, did you speak on the school for basketball Earl the Pearl Open in the Bronx? No, I saw
about it.
I saw it. Thanks for bringing it up.
News.
Yeah, so yeah, I love when you see guys giving back to the community like that. Knicks and 6. The Knicks are back, brother. Absolutely. Trust. Yeah, high trust. Hope all is well. Again, anyone who's new, let us know. And if you haven't hit that thumbs up, please hit it. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do it. And if you haven't turned on that all reminder bell, please do that. And also, please share the link on your favorite social media platform. Tell your friends and your neighbors about the SV Nation. It's a great place. We guarantee that you'll have a good time. You'll smile and talk a lot of good basketball, sports, life, and anything else you want to talk about. And also organized crime.
At this point, it's a Knicks show, and towards the end, we get into all kinds of sports at this point.
Yeah, well, it's family. You're hanging out. That's the beauty. I think it's a differentiator for a show. Why I want people no different than that on Sundays. They're like, I got to watch I got football to watch, and in a few weeks I got some basketball to watch, and then at 9:30, 9:45 on Sunday nights I got my guy Quis and I got my guy Foxy. Hey, it's a nice Sunday to watch my sports and then end my Sundays every week with my family. The SV Nation. Doesn't get better than that. Yo, look who just joined the chat. The one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, JD Sports Talk. Or as I like to do, JD. So everybody, do me a favor, do a shout out to our guy JD. He's doing wonderful things. As you know, you've seen him on Knicks Fan TV with CP. Shout out to CP, the franchise. So like that, man's Brandon, and he has a lot to brand. Great show, great guy. So congratulate JD. And JD, I'm sure, wasn't happy about his Giants today, and he was looking for some good things to talk about. Bradbury had a couple of good picks. Keep talking, JD. But shout out to JD.
He pulled up just in time for the J Boogie name drop.
Yeah, J Boogie, we're going to be playing him in a second. Shout out. And also anybody, if you have any moving needs, J Boogie is great. Hook him, talk to him, and he'll help you out any way he can. He's a great guy. So any moving needs, you call our guy J Boogie. You have any great hooks you want, you talk to J Boogie. He's dropping an album. So this was just one track that we'll play in a few minutes. JD, you're the best, man. He's dropping an album. I think it's all Knicks related, so I'm looking forward to hearing it. He's a really talented guy, and
You got
I
to put me
feel
on a feature.
I, I feel
Chase the
really
rap back in the
honored.
days.
I feel really honored that that he mentioned you and me and JD and a few of our other friends in the Nick fandom on the track. So I'm like I played it for my wife and she was like, whoa. I'm like, I know now I could, Lord take me now, everything is good. So let's see, just okay. So, folks, any last things you want to talk to us about? And again, please do me a favor before you go. Make sure you hit that like. We are, let's see, did we hit the magic 100? 106. I love
Yeah, we
you. I
hit it a
love you. I
while
love
ago.
you. I love you. I love you. So, thank you so much, man. We
Hit
appreciate
the
that.
century
And
mark.
yeah, we like hitting that century mark. So, J Boogie podcasting was lit. Yep, we're going to be playing that in a second. So, any last things you guys want to talk about? If not, we're going to say sayonara and can't wait to see you next week. And like I said, I'm going to, as Jay Boogie said, every time I'm finished with the show, I take my pup out, look up at the stars, I say my prayers. So I like to walk my dog and tell JD Sports Talk. Pod, if you guys have, what do you guys see the finish? Want to see finish the preseason? Anything specific? JD, we talked about we want to see the Knicks finish better in the paint. They missed 18 shots so far in the paint over the first two games. So especially RJ, we want him to do that part of it. And more than anything is just we know it's going to be time. Kemba and Fournier and the guys getting to know each other, but Obi coming into his own and Knox, was real happy for Knox yesterday. Hey, these are all young men. We just wish the best for him. So he's had a real tough, and like we talked about, going from Fizdale to Mike, who took over for Fizdale when he got fired. Mike
Miller. I'm
Mike
sorry.
Miller,
Yeah,
thank
he
you.
took over. Yeah.
And now so three coaches, so it'd be good. Yeah. So hopefully that answered your question. So without further ado, anything else, Keith? Can't wait to see you next Sunday. Don't forget us, folks.
Yeah. Just reading the comments, just making sure I got everything answered before we wrap up. It was definitely a good show. We touched on a lot of topics. We went through pretty much every player out there on the court so far through preseason, and we also were able to dabble in a few other things. Talk Nets, talk some Giants. You got to speak about the Jets. I'm not gonna lie. The Jets are not good enough for me to wake up at 9:30 to watch them on a
No,
Sunday. So I didn't see much of that game. I'm not gonna front.
I agree with you. I said to my wife, "This is, aren't you?" I'm like, "This is just really bad. This is like terrible football. I can't, it comes to a point like I just can't do it no more." And then I say
Yeah.
to lie to myself, I'm like, at least the Giants are on, and a little later, and I'll be able to watch better football. Nope, I got that one wrong. Got that one wrong. That's the walking wounded, man.
Yeah. So chat SB Nation, I just want to say shout out to you guys for once again helping us drive a phenomenal show. We're on here for about 2 hours and 45 minutes, and time flies whenever we hit that record button, right? Or stream button, right, Foxy? It's always
Yeah,
a good
we're
time talking
shocked.
to your
Last
friends.
week, like we said, we're just hanging out with you guys, talking and gals, and that we just love hanging with you guys. And we see the time flies, so that's when that you're really blessed that you're hanging out with fam and you're not looking at the clock. And then when you do look at the clock, like, geez, man, I didn't
Like,
realize 3
dang.
hours. Yeah, but
Yeah, like
it
I
feels
realized I got things I
effortless.
was supposed to do that's backing up on me. You don't expect to be on that until 12:45 when you clock in at 9:45 or you start
Got that
streaming at
right.
9:45.
So
Yeah. All
yeah,
right,
so
so we're
everybody,
gonna play the
yep,
song for
yep.
Jay Boogie. He's the closer, so it only makes sense for him to close this show as well. Once again, I hope CP doesn't think we're stepping on his toes or anything like that. But we're gonna have Jay Boogie do a special little close into this show with his song "Podcasting." So before we play it, just want to say shout out to the chat. You guys were phenomenal.
We
Foxy,
love you
thank you.
guys.
Love you as a co-host here on Sundays. Looking forward to another show next week. Once again, I'm Keith, host of Sports Vibes TV. and we're about to cue J Boogie's debut single. Well, I guess he debuted it yesterday, but his big single off his new album. He hasn't given me the name yet, but the song is Podcasting. And here we go.
Let's get it. Y'all be spitting with your flows, I'm just podcasting.
That's right.
On the air every day, I'm just podcasting.
What?
You don't know what that mean when I say I'm podcasting. I'm broadcasting these flows with the podcasting. Every day of my life, I'm just podcasting.
Right.
Share my dreams with you, me and I'm podcasting.
What?
You can see my vision through the podcasting.
Yeah.
But don't forget J Boogie
Okay.
when I'm broadcasting.
What?
I'm podcasting,
What?
he podcasting.
What?
I've been spitting this venom since Karate Flicks. When Mr. Sims was sharing nothing but the Knicks. I guess you know by now, I seen some tough years. Now I know the reason why Freezy got them blowing tears. Closest thing to the Reverend means I'm the deacon. Call up Gmo just so he can talk the Legion. I'm squeezing, get my young ones to overstand. Some more advice, Ron Cleveland, Mr. Man. I guess y'all know I'm just podcasting, right? Y'all be spitting with your flows, I'm just podcasting.
That's right.
On the air every day, I'm just podcasting.
What?
You don't know what that mean when I say I'm podcasting. I'm broadcasting these flows with the podcasting. Every day of my life, I'm just podcasting.
Right.
Share my dreams with you, me and I'm podcasting.
What?
You can see my vision through the podcasting.
Yeah.
But don't forget J Boogie
Okay.
when I'm broadcasting.
What?
I'm podcasting,
What?
he podcasting.
What?
I know some haters and doubters, they wanna take the shine. Call up JL, he said, do it in a nick of time. I feel you young when the car drive, they wanna ride. If you ain't Keys, we don't share the same sports vibe. We different, in other words, we ain't alike. My young head, Hadouken, he a nick at night. No sleeping, we YouTubing through the daylight. That's what it is when you live inside that Nick life. That Nick life, that Nick life. Y'all be spitting with your flows, I'm just podcasting.
That's right.
On the air every day, I'm just podcasting.
What?
You don't know what that mean when I say I'm podcasting. I'm broadcasting these flows with the podcasting. Every day of my life, I'm just podcasting.
Right.
Share my dreams with you, me and I'm podcasting.
What?
You can see my vision through the podcasting.
Yeah.
But don't forget J Boogie
Okay.
when I'm broadcasting.
What?
I'm podcasting,
What?
he podcasting.
What?
My man CP said let's Nick fan the TV. From the podcast back to the MSG, the network, we breaking news here every day. Run the intro, that's CK, the 2K, the bills paid. Stephen Foxy got a dog walk. We tell JD we need that new sport talk. I don't care about the Sixers if they falling off. I'm at the rim left-handed like John Starks. John Starks, what? John Starks. Shout out to all the podcasters doing their thing. If you listen and represent a podcast, hit the like button and smash them up. You know what I'm saying? They working hard for you and everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the First Lady, Miss Stephanie. Shout out to Ian Begley. Shout out to J Mac. Shout out to my man Tone Wu. Shout out to my man for the love of the game. And shout out for the pause and radio. And a special shout out to my man Entertainer, you know what I'm saying? Rocking them New York Giants. It is football season, I can't forget him, man. Peace, love, and happiness to everybody. Protect yourself, love yourself, you know what I'm saying? 3 capital S's, salute, 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 man. Peace.
Yo.